Well, hello, everybody. It's a Saturday, our special Jamboree episode, and I am joined by longtime listener to the Four Color Fossils, Michael Dodd. Michael, it's good to see you, and we look forward to seeing some of the things you have. But before that, tell the people how long you've been collecting and what are your areas of interest.
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. Is anybody even watching now?
No, but they will on replay.
Yeah,
So
you got a point. Yeah. Well, I'm into monster stuff mostly, and I have a lot of comics from the Silver Age and Bronze Age, mostly what I collect. Although I do have stuff from the 80s and 90s, and I'm into toys and just about anything that's monster related. And I started. Well, really, I was into this stuff all my life. As a kid, I watched monster movies and bought comic books. And then in the mid 70s, I started to collect comics and I started buying monster stuff all through the years. So I got a lot of junk.
well, good. For those of the people that don't recognize you right off the bat, your avatar is usually associated with House of Secrets with the first appearance of the Swamp Thing.
Yeah, it's got Wheezy Jones on the
Right.
the cover of House of Secrets '92 as
Fan-
Watson drew it. Yeah.
Fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, the link is in the chat. Feel free to join us. It's a free for all. We have no specific guidelines tonight. This isn't really a fossil show, but I expect a few fossils to show up. And we see Meyer Greenblatt is in the chat. Hello, Meyer.
Hey, Mike.
Meyer's got some great toys and kits and magazines, and you do too. I know that for a fact because offline, Michael was showing me a great Phantom of the Opera, I believe, was what you were showing.
Yeah, the Hammer Phantom.
Yeah,
Distinctive dummies. Yeah.
and fantastic stuff. So a little bit later, Michael will be showing some of those, and it's great. And once again, feel free to join us, climb aboard. So, and if any of the fossils need me to send a specialized link through Instagram, I'd be glad to do that as well. Just let us know in the chat. So you're a touch older than me. I'm probably one of the youngest fossils at age 52.
Yeah, I'm more than a touch.
It's a touch, but we're any fossil is basically over 50 and would recognize and grow up and witness and remember certain things that were happening in the pop cultural realm that are significant to our generation kind of as a whole. We're joined on Wednesday nights by Paulo Costa, who I like to kid as he's a fossil in training. He's still just a tad young.
Yeah, how old is Paulo? Like 40 or something like that?
I think he's 42. I hate to say that without him here to back that up, but I think he's about 42.
Yeah, he looks really young. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's compared to us, yeah, he's
yeah, all the gray that keeps showing up. So, but yeah, I recently, and I'll be showing this Wednesday night, picked up 2 buttes. I'll go ahead and full screen.
Yeah.
And I love paperbacks. These are the newspaper strips.
I've never seen that.
By John Romita.
Yeah.
And here's some of the good artwork inside.
Oh, yeah.
So now here's, that's book 2. Number 1 started with Dr. Doom and Dr. Octopus. And here's the back cover. I would like to find something similar in a very large format. Maybe later when Eric Breen comes on, he can tell us if this was ever done in a large format. Now, the last page, it starts to set you up with the Rattler on the bottom there. And he's going to be the next villain. So sure enough, in book 2, the Rattler is... he's the enemy, and this is great John Romita artwork. Probably the only thing bad about reading the the newspaper strips is they kind of have to set a very limited plot as far as 3 panels per day. The next day they have to tell everybody, what did you miss if you missed Tuesday's strip.
Yeah.
That's the problem with newspaper strips. But other than that, if you can edit the book just right, like when Harvey Comics would reprint the Dick Tracy strips, they knew that your first panel of the day on a Wednesday is going to kind of recap a little bit of what just happened Tuesday strip, and the more you go down the week, they keep doing that. So Harvey could cut a panel, and you still kind of have a pretty good flow.
Right.
Later, when Blackthorn reprinted them, they kept every panel in there. So sometimes it got a little redundant. Dick Tracy keeps explaining something to Pat Patton over and over. We already saw it, but
yeah,
you had to do that. Kind of like a serial in the movie theater. But I'll be showing more of those Wednesday. I just wanted to start things off.
Those are cool. They must be pretty uncommon because I'm not familiar with those at all.
I never saw them, and I saw one on eBay, and they wanted like $25.
Yeah.
And then I saw the 2 for the same price, and I thought, I can't. I better grab that while I can. And I got a couple of Beetle Baileys, and he says about face. So a little too late to turn the canoe around, but and now that we're in October, there'll be a little bit more ghost action on the Wednesday night show. But
yeah, man, I'm glad I got on when I did because the horror and monsters is what I focus on. So it's the right time of year for it,
Yeah. We had a ball last year with the ghosts and monsters. It seems to be everybody's kind of favorite time of the year, and we're looking forward to that. So, did you see? I remember going to the gas station on my bicycle, and it was a big hang up of, do I buy a comic or do I get this soda pop?
Yeah.
And the big new game was Space Invaders.
Yeah.
And that was competition for my money. And it was very frustrating because after, it didn't take long and the aliens would get me. And I thought I should have bought that comic. But did you have any similar type experiences when you were growing up?
Well, the arcade games came a little later. I was a little older. I was a teenager at that point. And, well, really, in the 80s, I was a young adult. So I didn't have that kind of situation where I had to choose between comics and arcade games.
Right.
But, we had pinball machines back then and all that. So it was a similar sort of thing. But I would usually pick the comics and the toys. I was all about the comics and toys. And if I had, depending on what I had left after I got the books that I really wanted, I would get like a Coke for a dime and a candy bar for a nickel. And by the way, the 5-cent candy bars in the 60s were about 4 times the size of the whatever they are now. I mean, freaking $2 or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, you could take $1 to the drugstore or wherever. I mean, they sold comic books all over back then, grocery stores, and you could take $1 and you could get a whole stack of comics and a Coke and a candy bar, and you could be in heaven for a while, man, on a buck,
I would also on my bike be looking for Coke bottles.
Yeah.
Because I could get a dime a Coke bottle where I lived. I don't know if other states were similar. I've heard that like Maine, you probably got more, but I can't verify that. Hello, Shannon. Yes, that's what Michael Dodd looks like,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
Like Shannon.
Shannon has been after me to do a Saturday stream so he could participate. Well, Shannon, the link is in the chat, so feel free to drop in if you can.
Yeah, dude, what are you doing in that chat? Get in the show, man.
See, Michael's a regular. He's already telling people what to do. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is
He
I
likes
highly.
that. You know, he's a buddy. I can tell.
Oh, good.
I can coax him into doing something.
Yeah. No, Shannon's great. He's got a very he's got a lot of people pulling him to go this way or work this late shift or do this or that. So
yeah.
So Shannon, I'm trying. I did a Tuesday stream and now I'm doing a Saturday stream. So hopefully this is more out there. So I think we got about five. Yeah, I got about 5 or 6 people right now watching, and that'll improve. Throughout the day, I noticed there are people that stream, but they don't really talk about anything. They just kind of complain about the She-Hulk TV show, and I sit there and I'm bored stiff watching them, but it's something to have on in the background. But hopefully you just tuning in. I've already tried to show a few nice little things, so and we'll wait a little later in the episode to have Michael show some stuff. But here's Meyer Greenblatt saying something. Yes, 5 and 10 cents, and I believe the 32-ounce bottles you could get more than a dime. I don't recall, but they used to sell like an 8-pack of 16-ounce bottles, and that was the dime, and the 32-ounce bottle was a little bigger, kind of an in-between between the 16-ounce and the 2-liter. But and the other day I found a 2-liter glass Coca-Cola. I say the other day, well, about 30 years ago. But I wasn't old enough to remember the glass 2 liters, but it had the metal twist cap. But anyway. But back then, you could turn that in right near the cash register at the grocery convenience store, wherever you turn these things in, and they would give you a few dimes, and then I'd immediately go buy a comic right off the spinner rack. So
hit the spinner rack. That's what I used to do, man.
And you've recently, I want you to tell me about this, how you completed it. Your Turok, starting with Dell and then finishing with Gold Key. You've got the whole run.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, people are probably going to ask, oh, did you get the Valiant? And you can't.
It's all the rage. I hate to hear that. People always make the Valiant joke, because that Turok Valiant, everybody bought like a dozen copies or more of that back in the 90s when they were investing and going to retire on them and all that crap. And now it's like the running joke. It's like got a black eye. That the name of that title has a black eye because, those Valiant Turoks never paid off, of course. They're still in bargain boxes. But yeah, man, I mean, I bought the real ones because when I was a kid, I was a dinosaur freak, and I wanted the real Turoks, not the Valiant stuff.
I like the way you say the real. So there's one for people.
Yeah.
This is what he's talking about. So, and some people may say that the Gold Key on the interior of the art's not as good. Turok's art was very good.
It was.
So was Korak, but every now and then they'd have a pretty good artist. I'm trying to see if I have any more. Turok, yeah. These are recent ones shown on the 4-Color Fossil show.
Yeah. I remember when I was little, I asked my mom what a honker was.
Yep.
and because, I've kind of figured that, well, they mean it's a dinosaur. It's what those Indians call honkers. And she said, I'm not sure what you mean. And so I showed her the comic, and she's, oh, it's dinosaurs. It's their slang for dinosaur.
I believe that they actually saw a lot of stuff like this. We find their old fabrics they had woven into their clothing what we would consider look like a dragon. But they would weave all kinds of stuff. They saw weird things like this, and I believe when they were trying to describe the Thunderbird, I think they were seeing something that resembled something similar to a pterodactyl. Of course, Ford Motor Company puts an eagle on their emblem and probably totally got the wrong impression. But I believe a lot of them, hundreds of years ago, saw wild stuff that still running around, still hadn't quite died off. There's Paulo. How you doing, Paulo?
Yeah, they saw a lot of wild stuff. I mean, that peyote was pretty strong, you know.
Yeah, yeah, they had some of that too.
They entered the spirit world a lot back then, and but you know, I mean, it's possible that they could have seen some things that we can't see today, you know.
It's remarkable that they didn't see a horse
Yeah,
until the Spaniards. But yeah, yeah, Turok is a great read. Uh, Anytime somebody stumbles into a place, and then the whole episode or the whole dynamic is, can they get back? Can they get back to where their civilization? And the great thing about Tarzan, he was always stumbling into a ancient civilization that looked like the Romans, or you name it. A lot of crazy stuff in Africa.
right.
Of course, Africa is huge, and you could almost, as you're writing your story, like Edgar Rice, let's put we got plenty of place to put these things in, and it's pretty wild. So that's your focus was monsters and dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Okay.
it started out probably as dinosaurs when I was a really small child, and of course, I watched all the monster movies from the 50s and stuff that had just come out back in the 60s on shows like Shock Theater, you know, horror hosted shows. So, you know, I was a big time monster kid and dinosaur kid back then. I loved all that stuff, man. I loved Johnny Quest when that came out. It was
Yeah.
awesome. And I wouldn't miss Johnny Quest. I wouldn't miss, you know, you had shows like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. And I was just old enough at the very end of those runs of the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits that I just got a taste of that, a good taste of it. And now, of course, you know, I've got all that stuff on DVD and I watch it all the time.
I appreciate Twilight Zone far more than Outer Limits. I don't know if anybody in the chat will beat me up for that, but Outer Limits for an hour, every now and then it seemed like they had a hard time keeping me interested. Whereas for some reason that Twilight Zone, they could get so much in a 30-minute episode. I guess dare I say it, the 30-minute is almost the ideal for me. Maybe if they went 40, but for a whole hour, and because Outer Limits tries that, but I just never thought they were on the same level. It's gold medal Twilight Zone, and Outer Limits was just kind of, and if you're an Outer Limits guy, that's great. I mean, they had the one called The Sixth Finger, where that guy's brain kept getting more and more advanced, and yeah, that was cool. I still think you could have edited it down a little bit, but that's where I'm probably speaking blasphemy to the audience. But I just thought Twilight Zone was superior. Outer Limits was great, and you see that in the comics. I mean, Twilight Zone had a bunch of comics. I don't know how many Outer Limits books there are. I know there's 2. They're Dell, but and you feel free to disagree. You might be.
I'm not going to disagree with you at all. I agree, but I want to tell you I'm a huge Outer Limits fan, but I recognize that Twilight Zone was a much better written show. I agree, but I want to tell you I'm a huge Outer Limits fan, but
you might want to mute
your Twilight Zone was I agree, but I want to tell you I'm a huge Outer Limits fan, but
Shannon, there you go, Shannon. I think you still had YouTube up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Meyer says the Outer Limit monsters were great. Agreed. Um, for example, Outer Limits had the episode of William Shatner where he goes to, I guess it was Venus, and he comes back and he's very cold. He's always cold.
Cold hands, warm heart. I think.
Yeah, he's practically burning the house down, trying to get his hands in the fireplace. Good episode, but I enjoyed him in Twilight Zone, seeing the monster on the wing of the airplane a little bit more. So I don't know. I mean, Outer Place is great. I just think they should have showed me Outer Limits when I was a kid before they showed me Twilight Zone, because I think Twilight Zone just kind of spoiled me. So and feel free to disagree. Shannon, weigh in. As a Planet of the Apes fan, Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, which gets the gold medal?
Well, that's one of those things. I mean, I was real familiar with Twilight Zone, but I didn't get to watch a whole lot of Outer Limits. I don't know if it was on our stations or what the deal was. I mean, the only thing I remember about Twilight Zone was an episode where David McCallum played a big-headed alien. Is that right?
That was Six Finger.
Six Finger.
Right. Yeah, right. And that's the only episode I remember from that. I know there was a bunch, but I just watched Twilight Zone more, so I really couldn't. I would have to go through and watch, and it's kind of funny because I saw on one of the streaming services I got that it's actually on there, the series. I said, so I might want to go watch that first and then really weigh in, because I love the Twilight Zone. Like I say, it's a gold standard, but I'd have to watch the Outer Limits to really
keep talking a little bit. I want to grab something of that episode you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, now, Shannon, there are 2 episodes of Outer Limits that are awesome. The first episode was called the Galaxy Being, and that is absolutely great episode. And but my favorite of the whole series was called The Architects of Fear.
Okay.
And it had Robert Culp in it. And yeah, man, you got to see Architects of Fear. I mean, it really.
You guys want me to go watch it now, so.
It'll make you a fan, dude. I'm telling you. I mean,
I'm sure.
It's like as good as anything on Twilight Zone ever.
Right.
But it was real hit and miss on Outer Limits. You had a bunch of clinkers, but when you grow up with it, you have a love for it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Itself, and you forgive a lot,
Oh, I agree.
There's no doubt in my mind that Twilight Zone was better written.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, the original Planet of the Apes ending with the Statue of Liberty, that was Rod Serling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know you already knew that, but yeah, I say I would have to watch a bunch of episodes and then kind of weigh in, because I don't want to start dissing something that I really don't know a whole lot about.
Well, you got to see Galaxy Being, and you got to see The Architects of Fear.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Galaxy Being and The Architects of Fear. All right.
Yeah, especially Architects of Fear. That'll make you a fan.
So I have a few years ago, Outer Limits was selling cards in a set. And if you buy enough, you'll get lucky and get an autograph in one of the cards. So I've got about 6 cards here that I've got in a frame. Oh, nice. And I have Jill Howard's autograph there.
Well, that's cool.
But there's the guy you're talking about.
Right. That's the one I remember. So, Michael, either one of you guys, what was the name of that episode?
That was the Six Finger.
Six Finger.
Six Finger, okay.
Look right underneath the blue guy there, see?
Okay, I got you.
Six Finger.
It had David McCallum and Jill Hayworth, and she was a hottie back then, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just prefer Twilight Zone, and here's a guy that was in Twilight Zone. Of course, a lot of people were. There's Warren Stevens.
Oh yeah, I remember him from the Star Trek episode.
And these Star Trek cards came out, and they just had these silly little cards that spelled Star Trek.
Right.
But I thought that's a good close-up of Warren, and I walked up to his table and I said, "Would you sign this?" And he he said, "Where did you get those? I've never seen those before." So,
That's cool.
but I liked him in the episode of Twilight Zone called "Dead Man's Shoes,"
Yeah.
and
I think I
that was a
remember.
guy. He's just a hobo, and the mafia has just killed a guy, and they dump his body in the alley. And Warren Stevens, the hobo, sees the guy, and he has really nice shoes, and he thinks, "Well, I think they'll fit me." And as soon as he puts those shoes on, he becomes this guy, and he has all his memories. And he walks into that guy's apartment. Here's the girlfriend, and she's like, "What are you doing in here?" And he walks in like he acts like he knows the place. And as soon as he takes the shoes off, all of a sudden he realizes, "What am I doing here?" So it's like the shoes made him this other guy, dead man shoes. And I just totally love that episode. So he goes back to try to get revenge, but of course Warren Stevens plays this alien on Star Trek. So I've got a lot of Star Trek autographs, but I'm just I like sci-fi, and I liked him in this episode, but I didn't have anything of him in the black and white Twilight Zone. But
All right.
I really like Twilight Zone. I'll show you something later, but to me it's a good show. Now the Six Finger is probably the best, or one of the best, of the Outer Limits. Outer Limits,
an action figure of that. Let me go get that, man.
okay. Outer Limits had they had an episode which was kind of like the Star Trek episode Arena, if I recall.
Oh yeah, where they had her and Kirk and Chekhov had to fight the.
Well, Arena, Kirk is fighting.
No, I know what you're talking about. The Gorn, yeah.
But I heard that there was an Outer Limits episode, and I've seen it, but it just like, once again, I can watch Outer Limits episodes, and they don't really stick with me like a Twilight Zone would. Yeah. So, all right, Dave or Michael, what do you got?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
sideshow figure. Let me. I hope this shows up okay. There might be some glare.
Well, there's always glare, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's awesome.
There there's David McCallum, and it comes with man. This StreamYard is hard to navigate.
Yeah, no, I have the same problem. My lighting sucks. So.
Yeah, it's got like let me see, what the heck is that? I can't tell looking around the side. Yeah, it's a base, and it's also got a couple of books that he studied those books and got all the knowledge of just about everything in just a few hours because of his intellect. And anyway, that's from Sideshow from years ago.
Well, yeah, then they were trying to figure out, should we kill this guy because he's getting too knowledgeable.
Yeah,
I think that's how that went. Yeah, it's been a while.
And he evolved so far that he didn't have any compassion anymore for humanity, and he started rampantly destroying people.
Yeah. Which I guess you could say is a little like Children of the Corn when you think about it, though.
Yeah.
On a much smaller, childlike level. Yeah.
He wants you too, Malachi.
Yeah, this is weird. I've just been home about 45 minutes. I just came back from Tennessee. I went to a comic show.
Oh, really?
Just had got back, and I was talking to my wife, and I was looking at my phone, and your stream popped up.
What'd you get, man?
Oh, I made out like a bandit. It was I asked you on a stream the other night how far you were from Russellville, Kentucky.
Yeah,
and I know you were from down around Chattanooga, and I wasn't for sure how far that was. So
I don't really know where Russellville is. I'm not familiar with it.
It's like close to the border of Tennessee, like in the western part.
Okay.
Past Bowling Green and all that, and probably just maybe an hour from Nashville or something.
Yeah, that's way the heck out there.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't know how close you were to that because I was going to say, come on out, because it's sort of like a last minute thing, but free admission, and it was just a small show. There might have been 15 dealers, but I mean they had some awesome stuff. So.
Dude, that's the best kind of show. The small one with free admission and all those bargain boxes and good deals.
Yeah, I couldn't believe some of that stuff. I was like, really? So yeah, I came out with a pretty big stack.
Well, do you want to show us some of them, or have you?
I can,
Yeah.
A little bit of everything. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I want to show one other thing before you get into that. Here's another figure from the Twilight Zone. This is the Caniment from To Serve Man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of the new figures from Mego, the new Mego.
That's cool. Go ahead, Shannon. I just want to show that real quick.
Serve Man, 101 delicious recipes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
See, Eric, I can say something nice about Gil Kane.
That's just because Spider-Man was on the cover, right?
Sure.
All right. TOD.
Yeah.
Oh, look at there.
Yeah, this was in the $2 box.
You're cute. Oh.
And this, I had seen this before, and this was
good Silver Age.
It might have been $5.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah, and that is in like awesome condition. I don't know if you can see that from the glare. But
yeah, the black cover. I don't see many white or any white.
It's a number one, and I was like, and I think I had seen that before. I was like, okay, well, I've got to pick that up, So there's some old Action Comics.
Beautiful.
Where they had the Legion of Superheroes run there from like 372 to or 377 to 392. This is the last one I needed for that. So there's some more MLJ stuff.
These are great shape.
Yeah, those are like anywhere from like $2 to $5.
So when you said make out like a bandit, you
yeah, I know, right? I couldn't believe it. I mean, most I paid for a book was like $15, I think.
Wow.
These are gorgeous.
And this one guy, he had like a whole box of like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Here's some cool sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some more.
Flyman.
Yeah.
I always thought Jaguar was way cool. Way cool.
Usually, sometimes like I go to a comic shop or a show. I mean, and I know you guys have done this before. This is what I call one of my shelter rescues right here. Where the book is probably rat shape and can't leave it behind because of the way it looks.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a Reed Crandall cover.
Wow.
$2.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where else are you going to get sci-fi and military and So
very nice.
Yeah.
Blackhawk just does not. You don't meet anybody that really collects Blackhawk.
There's one for Dr. Silver Age.
Hello, Horizon. Spinner Rack gets a lot of Blackhawk. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Horizon has joined us. Horizon has some great little auctions from time to time, whether you want comics or T-shirts or all kinds of articles. Check him out sometime. Oh, could you show that Wonder Woman again? I was busy. That's beautiful.
Whoa. How much was that, man?
Yeah, because that's over here.
It's not in the best shape. I mean, I'd probably call it a VG minus. It was like $5.
That's a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, over here that would be about 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go to eBay, that's $40 book.
Yeah, I know.
I imagine, yeah.
Of course, you got to grab some Charlton.
right for the current general, yeah.
Right. I think this is one of the few Flash books, 20 centers, that I didn't have. So Little Archie.
Yeah.
This was $1. It's
Wow.
15-cent cover price, and that was like my favorite time to read Archie. Love this cover.
Yeah.
I think I paid 10 for this.
Hey, man, I had that off the rack.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I actually bought that off the rack, man.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, you got some great stuff there, man.
Let's see. Some stuff was just upgraded a few things. I think this is an upgrade. Because I always like any kind of appearance by the Squadron Supreme or Sinister or whatever version you want to call them. Just an analog of the Justice League. So
that book is expensive as heck. Now, if you go to eBay or a big show to buy that is really expensive.
Oh yeah.
First full Squadron Supreme.
Oh yeah, I've got that. I love it.
Yeah.
Great jumping up. Oh man,
These are like in the $1 box, $2 box.
yeah.
They're probably VG, maybe a little bit,
Right.
lower, but still,
Yeah. Gonna cut that rope.
I love reading these.
Well, it's actually Squadron Sinister. You're right. They became Supreme in '85, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
coming up.
love these Luis Dominguez covers.
Yes. It's dynamite.
Yeah,
And this is one that I coveted for years. I saw in those house ads. I finally found a copy.
Yeah.
That GI better keep on going.
Right. You gotta have some Cubert if you're gonna have war stuff. So
Oh, big struggle for that gun. Wow, great. Hey. Oh, nice.
Got to get Charlton, man.
Yep. I'm not gonna show all of this. This one, I couldn't believe it. There was like 4 volumes of this when they came out a few years ago, and they like reprint all the magazine stuff, like the new stories and all that. Didn't reprint the articles or anything, just the comic stories. And I had 2, 3, and 4, and for some reason, number 1, you try to find it on eBay or somewhere, it was anywhere from like $125 to $300. And I think originally these were like $60 cover price, and I got this one for $40.
Wow.
So this one, it's got all that great Mike Klug and
Oh, nice.
Alcala, and there's Tom Sutton. There's Tom Sutton right there. But yeah, I was kind of tickled to have this. Get this one.
Oh, wow.
Smut alert.
Oh yeah.
Hello, God Tank. Welcome aboard. Oh, the Hulk. Beautiful cover.
Has that got a Moon Knight story?
I'm not sure.
What
Yeah,
number?
it does. Yeah.
Okay.
The Macabre Moon Knight and his most unbelievable adventure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just see if I believe it or not.
Ooh.
There we go. Is that Ken Kelly?
I'm not sure, Michael.
You keep going, Shannon, but I'm going to bring in Tylox real quick.
Oh, cool. Hey, Tyler.
All right. Hey, we'll see how this works. My internet's been acting up here lately.
And there's some Corbin.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I love Corbin.
And there's a few more Hulk books, but I had one more 1994. Love that cover.
Yeah.
But I think all these black and white ones, they were selling them for like $6 each.
It's hard to find some of those 94s, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a bunch more stuff. I'll maybe save that for another video or something. So.
Very, very, very nice. And I saw Tylox yesterday. He was on some other stream. I shouted out to him, and he was in a daze. And somebody told him, "Hey, Graphic Man said hi to you." Well, then his internet acted up on him. So, oh, Mastodon.
Michael, what do you got on the wall behind you there?
Some artwork and a movie poster and a couple prints.
Oh, cool.
I can describe them if you want me to.
Yeah. Is some of your artwork or?
Actually, I drew one of them. Let me get this. Okay. That is actually a poster, a French poster for Tombs of the Blind Dead.
Oh,
Came
wow.
out in '72.
That's cool.
This, I don't know who drew this. I bought it off of eBay. It's Cynthia, the hot witch from The Witching Hour.
Oh, yeah. And
it was cheap, and I like it. Even though I don't.
That's all that matters, right?
I just grabbed it, man. And this, boy, it's hard to. Okay, this one in the middle here is It, the Terror from Beyond Space, an original sketch by Richard Harrison Green. Hey, Mike. He actually worked for Walt Disney Studios.
Oh, is that right?
And he's a big monster nut, and he used to set up sometimes in Knoxville and sell his art. And I bought this like for $20 or whatever, so I was happy to get it. This up here, I commissioned this in the middle. That is Paul Naschy as Alaric de Marnac from a movie called Horror Rises from the Tomb, and the female figure is his consort, Mabille de Montre.
Oh, that's nice.
Here's a couple of prints by Richard Harrison Green, Werewolf of London, and the Wolfman. And I drew this.
Oh, that's cool.
That is the Paul Naschy werewolf character. His name is Valdemar Daninsky, and he's getting ready to fight the chlorophyll monster, who's the Beast of Blood in the Blood Island movies. And it's a movie that I wish they'd have made in 1970, but they never did.
Right.
And I call it the werewolf on Blood Island. It's too bad they never made it. I mean, those two could rip each other apart.
That's really good, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all that.
Good deal.
Tylox, I saw you in that stream yesterday. What are you up to, man?
Oh, what do you call it? The low grades last night.
You run Legion or something?
Oh, yeah. Nothing much. Just been working, hoping the storm wasn't going to be too bad here. I've been having a little bit of internet problems, but I kind of expected that. But seems to be working good now. I don't know what I did to fix it. That's computers. I don't know. I did something and it works now. So just been reading books, getting books. I'll show you my to-read pile. This is going to last me for the weekend, hopefully.
There you go.
We're going to start out with some 90s Image. I got the first issue, 6 issues of Pitt. I'm going to read those because I haven't read those since I was, a kid, like 10, something like that. Like, I haven't read those since I was a kid. So I'm going to read those and see if I know the artwork is still going to be good because Dale Keown does good artwork, but the story's probably going to be like, this seemed a lot more epic when I was a kid. But I do actually have some artwork. Yeah, I do actually have some artwork.
Speaking,
Need to get some frames for. I got some James O'Barr signed.
Hold on a second. Let me get you.
It's signed by James O'Barr. They are. This one's numbered. What is it? 601 out of 1500. So I got to get a frame for these. Frame these up, and then I've got one more. This one's got color in it and stuff, so this one's gonna look really good framed. And they're all signed by James O'Barr down in this corner, and then they're all numbered. I think this one's 1500 as well. Yeah, 590 out of 1500. So I got some of those that I need to get done. I'm just doing what I do, collecting stuff, buying stuff, sending stuff to people.
Yeah. Every time I see you, you've got another little box in there. That's great.
Actually,
yeah.
Let's see. Right here. Where is it? No, that's Cat. These are 3 stacks of
Yeah.
comics. I need to get 3 more short boxes because they were taking up too much room in the long boxes, and they're definitely big enough for their own box. So I got to get a box for Star Wars, Red Lanterns, and Detective Comics, which is funny because I just started collecting Detective Comics this year, and it's all new stuff, and I have enough of it to start a short box of it already. And I was just like, how did I do that? I don't know if they're coming out twice a month now or what, but somehow I did it.
Fantastic. And is your cat asleep? Or?
Let's see. I think Quentin's just hanging out. They like the boxes. They really like hanging out on the boxes. I got another cat right here who's on the other short boxes. That's his spot. Sometimes you'll get lucky on my streams and see them fighting over those boxes. So that's always interesting. Plus, I've also been buying musical gear. I'm going to start doing playthroughs on my channel. Musical playthroughs. I got a guitar. I got to get me an amp. So I'm going to start doing musical playthroughs too, just covering songs that I like. Or like say it's Hendrix's birthday one month or something like that. I'll play a Hendrix song. Or say it's Ozzy's birthday or something like that. I'll play an Ozzy song and just start doing stuff like that. Just doing little fun little things. To keep, just keep content, keep putting out stuff. Why not?
Yeah. And we're going to be joined by Meyer Greenblatt any second now. Tylox, I have a dog, so I don't have cats, but sometimes if you take the lid off and you have all the comics real tight in a row, the cats love to kind of just knead the top of the books and just kind of feel them. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've had these boxes open before and had them jump in the box and like curl up between the box and the books and like try to go to sleep, and then I shoo them out real quick and put the lid back on the box. But I think they pretty much figured out boxes in this room are a no-go. Their boxes are in the kitchen.
Sure.
Where they can do their stuff.
Well, Meyer, have you seen Michael Dodd's his 6-finger figure?
Yeah, I did. I saw that. It's good to see you guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? I did see that, and those are really cool figures. I don't have any of those. I have the Sideshow Universal Monsters figures, but I've looked at those Outer Limits figures. They have several different aliens from several different episodes that they made. I don't know, when did they make those, Michael? In the early 2000s?
Yeah. I think it was like probably 2001 or around in there. Yeah, they made some of the Outer Limits and the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, they did. That's right.
Yeah. Very high quality.
I'm not huge on figures, but I actually did pick up a figure last month. I seen something. I went to a comic book store. I messed up and said, I've got a limit of $50. I doubled it by the time I left. And I literally, on my way out, saw a figure. And I was like, I have to bring this home with me. I have to. There's no way I can leave it here. So.
And Eric, I don't know if you saw the beginning, but I picked up a couple. I'll be showing these Wednesday. They're the newspaper strip by John Romita. And my question for you is, did Marvel ever put out the newspaper strip in a bigger format than these? I mean, they're beautiful. You can't go wrong with John Romita, but
give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
Tylox, what figure did you get?
Oh, this is gonna be good because as soon as I saw this, I immediately reverted back to Saturday mornings and a bowl of cereal and my tidy whities watching cartoons, and I couldn't leave it there.
Hey, Chris.
There you go.
This is a Nika Gargoyles Goliath figure.
Oh, here, let me get you big here. There we go.
And in this awesome looking box.
Wow.
That's
I
nice.
love that show.
This thing is huge. This is the biggest figure I own. Like, I mean, I buy figures here and there. I do have a Freddy Krueger Nika figure that I really like, but it comes with a tail, comes with a couple different heads, some hands. The
Wow,
Gamora.
the paint is great.
Yeah, Nice.
Yeah. And when it's set up, it's supposed to look like that. And I think it's got a stand that it comes with too and everything. But I'm probably just going to leave it like this. And I found out that they are doing a bunch of these over the next few months. They're releasing different Gargoyles figures, Brooklyn, Bronx, all that stuff. And so I'm probably going to have to pre-order those because I really need all these in my life. This is like, they're also coming out with a Gargoyles comic. Dynamite's releasing a Gargoyles comic starting in December. And I'm going to be on that too because this show was my jam when I was a kid. I loved this show. It was great. I loved the premise of it. It was tons of action. You know, it was great. So that's just Saturday mornings for me right there.
You guys are real patient and well behaved. If I had these, they'd be out of the box fighting each other.
Yeah, I'm still debating on whether to unbox it or not, but I haven't had time to yet. Maybe when I get the whole set, I'll take them all out and have them set up nice somewhere back here.
It's funny you should say that, Mike, because I finally, when I redid my room, I tore everything out of the boxes and put them on shelves except this one. I'm sure some of you guys might remember this horror series.
The Tall Man, yeah, Phantasm.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
It's got the tall man. It's got the little dwarf. It's got the little space gate things in there. Huge Phantasm fan. Got a couple of
Don't fear,
books.
Tommy, don't fear.
Right.
Said when he stuck his hand in the box.
Yeah, got a couple books. It's autographed by Don Coscarelli and pretty cool. Yeah, but they made that's like one of the few horror series I've ever seen like where they kept the same cast almost all the way through because they had except for the second movie, it was the same actors in every movie, and it went from 1979 to maybe I think the last movie came out about 5 or 6 years ago. So, Mike's gonna pull out the big stuff now.
There you go.
No, yours is probably better, but this is. Let me get this straight. This is by Brent's Dolls. They're
cool.
a very small company that makes almost custom type toys.
Oh man, I'd love to have
Got
that.
the Minion and the Tall Man there.
Wow,
Yeah.
I've never seen a minion made before.
Yeah.
For a
Yeah,
second,
like,
I thought it was I thought it was one of the on-card figures they had that they come out with recently, where they're doing a bunch of them. But no, that's completely different. That's really cool.
And here is something that's probably it might cause a borderline smut alert. I don't know, but I thought it was pretty hot. It's Lilith, the Vampire Bride of the Murderous
Cool.
series.
Okay.
And this is from a toy company that's really new. This is the only figure they've made, as far as I know. It's White Elephant Toys.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that was inspired by the vampire movies of the 70s and 60s, mostly Hammer, I guess.
Oh, I love the Hammer stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Phantasm figure I got is by Real Toys by Nika.
Yeah.
I think it came out in 2005.
Nika's always putting out good stuff. Always.
Yeah, I think the little dwarves or whatever they are, it's probably one of the later movies because in the first movie they never showed their faces. Well, they did. I guess they did because when they turned the guy that got killed in the first scene, they turned him into one. They showed his face, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that NECA is more detailed. This is actually more cartoonish and stylized, the one that I've got from Brent's Dolls.
I still don't have that because there's so little Phantasm merchandise, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That movie made a big impact on. I went to high school in this little town. I want to say that came out in sophomore year. When was that? 81 that came out?
79. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been then. So it would have been 7th grade then. So I saw that in maybe the summer between 7th and 8th grade, I think, at the drive-in, and everyone was talking about that movie on Monday morning, and everyone. Well, we had already seen like the TV commercials for the movie prior to the movie coming out, right? For like a week or two, they showed the ball floating through the air.
Right.
But everyone was talking about that all day on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I saw it at the theater when it originally came out. I guess I was 16. and they just it wasn't. I don't know. You could call it like a horror / sci-fi / fantasy. I mean, there's really nothing explaining it. Probably one of the reasons I liked it.
Yeah.
And they just kept the same actors all the way through, and it's like you get to the end of it and like, so it just keeps going. It's like there's never any kind of clear ending, which is probably why I like it.
It's very
it was
ambiguous because
realistic, dreamlike aspect of the movie that made it extra scary. Right?
Yeah.
That it was off. That you could tell from the beginning things were off. Things weren't
Right.
happening that would happen normally.
Yeah. To me, it was like, okay, the really wasn't a horror movie per se. It was basically to me about the two brothers and their friend. It was like, okay, it's us against the world. In those movies, there's like no cops or no authority figures whatsoever in those movies. It's just those three guys, and they're going across the landscape in the CUDA, and with the triple barrel shotguns. I mean, it's hilarious.
Going through these little towns, ravaging, just taking it's like the apocalypse, man. And where's the National Guard? Where's the freaking cops?
Right. And like it's not set like in New York or LA. It's like they're in Oregon or somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, they just cleaned out that town called Perigord. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was great.
Meyer, I don't know if you were paying attention, but I showed this earlier with the sixth finger.
Yeah, I saw this.
And
these are great, man. You have some great autographs, but that's a really nice piece.
And I'll do my Jambo impression. Here's the lovely Celeste Yarnell, and she says, "Like and subscribe." So, saw her in Tulsa. So,
I haven't answered your question now.
yes, sir.
But first, wake up Tyler there. Here's a first issue of Gargoyles as he checks out.
His internet is
Well, if he can see, if he still has it on his phone, there's first issue of Gargoyles.
He'll be back.
So this is
You have it.
the hardcover.
Oh
This is
wow!
the first volume, and
This black and white. Okay.
yeah. Well, the strips were
Right. But that's cool.
And I think they're. Let's see if they're. I guess they just the Sunday strips they just reproduced in black and white. Also, I imagine. And here's volume 2.
Nice.
Well, good to know. All right. Good.
I think they're out of print. Picked those up about a year and a half ago in a batch of stuff that came through the store.
I thought you were looking this up. I didn't know you were.
No. It took me 30 seconds to find them. Come back in here in 10 minutes.
Wow. We're talking toys and figures. Yeah. But the art is great. I don't know how the story goes.
Are we still talking about the newspaper strips?
Yeah.
They were fun.
Good.
I mean, it was very, nothing in depth. I think the first one, Dr. Doom was coming to speak at the UN, and JJJ was angling to be his spokesman or something.
Yeah, looks about right.
And then I think they followed that with a Craven story. And
Dr. Octopus.
oh, okay. Well, I guess Craven must have been after that, but it lasted for decades, and I think they actually did end up having Peter and Mary Jane married in the strip as well.
Okay.
And in fact, I think it lasted until about 2018. I think when Larry Lieber left, I think Alex Savek drew the strip for years. There was an article in Back Issue about it a few months ago.
Yeah, I got that. I read that article.
I did not. I don't know if these gentlemen have.
Oh, yeah.
You probably got to tune into Wednesdays to see those, though.
That's right.
He shows the good stuff on Wednesday.
But I do have something that I wanted to show tonight. I'll show it again Wednesday, but this Silver Surfer number 7. As you can see, it's in really nice shape. You can see the spine, the back cover's in excellent condition. A friend of mine came down to the record store today and gave this to me. Now, why, you might ask? Because the pages are bound like 8, and these square bounds are like 8 sections of 8.
Yeah.
Well, the first one became dislodged. It basically became an 8-page pamphlet. And that was a bridge too far for him, so he gave me the book. So I don't care if all 8 of them are dislodged.
Right.
So that was nice. Yeah, picked
That
up
was
today.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Americans just don't get a good access to the Phantom.
I didn't know it was still going on.
I didn't either.
It's huge other countries. But my hard part with the newspaper strip is that there's 3 panels. In the good old days, you had 4 panels, and you could tell better stories. But go ahead, Meyer.
I was just going to say something about the Silver Surfer. So during high school, for me, I was working in a comic shop in Monterey, California, that was in like this little strip mall that used to be an old cannery, and there was a surf shop just right around, like two shops down from us was a surf shop, and I couldn't keep the Fantasy Masterpieces reprints that were coming out at this time. This was like 1981, 1982, 1983. We would never get shipped enough, because it would be the same like 10 surfer dudes that would come over every month or every couple of weeks asking for Silver Surfer comics. And when they realized that, well, I have these ones up on the wall, but they're 10, 15, and $25. And they were like, well, that's not what we're looking for, right? They figured it could just be bought off the shelf. Luckily, it was in reprint at the time, but they were being bought up by these guys that did not read comic books, but loved that title and read that title. Didn't just look at the pictures. They read it, and they got into the existential religious aspects of it, and the earthy, hippie aspect of the whole thing, I think, right?
Now those reprints are $10, $15, $20, and the regular series is damn near untouchable.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Yeah, that number 1 and 3 and 4 are way up in the stratosphere, man. The others are high too.
And number 3 was for something that didn't end up happening.
Yeah. But
at least
one of it too, huh?
Even if it never happens in the MCU, it's still a big time comic character.
Well, at least number 1 and 4 got that way organically.
Yeah.
3 had a little, speculator help, but
yeah,
probably to get it to where it's, I'm not sure any comic is worth as much as they're listed for now, but I said I always appreciate when a comic gets valuable on its because of us and not from hedge fund managers and speculators.
Yeah.
MCU stands.
Yeah.
I don't know the last book you can deduce we made popular, that the other medias didn't.
That's a real good question. You'd probably, most of the older ones, obviously, but as far as new books, I don't know.
Because other medias always have an influence somehow, and you can't avoid it.
Now, some of the Captain Americas during the Brubaker run did escalate in value before he was announced to be in the movies, because it was the legitimate return of Bucky after I don't know how many, false alarms like this one. So I always keep a fake Bucky reappearance handy in case the subject comes up, even if I have to bring it up myself. But that's not even that's not
I thought of one. It's a Treasury edition, the Rudolph. That has had no movie hype, nobody wanting to invest to retire on. That Rudolph Treasury is just, it's a hefty price, and I think it's just because you never see it really come up for sale too much.
Well, also
a couple of those.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I thought there was 2 or 3 at least. Yeah,
and they fall into the same category as why romance comics are so expensive, even though you can't sell them for those prices anywhere, but unless you get lucky on eBay, because the people that bought the rest of the the Bible one is not cheap because they didn't appeal to the people that collected comics. They were an entirely different audience that it probably never occurred to them to save those. So I'm sure the available copies on those Rudolphs is way lower than anything else.
Hey, look at there.
I knew I had one. I just had to go find it.
See, I could go find all 4, but that would necessitate walking up a flight of stairs, and I'm lazy.
Yeah, we'll hold on to America. I mean, yeah.
I did keep my treasuries when I sold my collection for treasuries and digest for some reason.
These are just beautiful.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, got that one.
Get down, America.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. There you go.
Another Thor, earlier Thor. There's nothing like seeing Kirby in this size. Like, this is when I first saw, like, that other Thor was one of the earliest Thor comics I ever read, was that other, the one with you look on the cover, that other Treasury. And just seeing Kirby in this size, as like a 12-year-old was pretty amazing.
These are gorgeous.
Oh yeah, that's probably the first time I read Tarzan by DC.
The same also with seeing Kubert in this giant size and in color is pretty amazing too.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Somewhere I got the DC Treasury-sized Dick Tracy, and oh, look at there, beautiful.
Ooh.
There you go.
Kind of big.
And I always wonder what in the world is DC doing printing this, because
this too was sitting. This is just oversized stuff that was just with the treasuries. This is Steranko's History of Comics. It's really good.
Do you have the other part?
No, this is the only one I have.
Because I think I've got the other half, but I've never been able to find that one.
I think Brockton has both of them. You can take me off, Mike.
fantastic.
Thank you.
I got something to see if anybody remembers. Start with anybody remember Comic Reader?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I used to buy it every month early on.
And then
especially those kind of newsprint type issues without the split covers. Yeah.
I'd forgotten all about this, but as soon as I saw this, it all came back.
Yeah.
They were just off by 38 years.
Yeah, Don Newton did several of those covers, didn't he?
I believe so. This one is Dave Hunt, who I didn't know did any penciling.
Yeah, I just thought he inked people.
Yeah, same here. But I ran across a run of those, and and the site I use to price has these being worth money, and there is no way on God's green earth you could get what they say those are worth.
Here you go. Somebody mentioned the Bible.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's got a great Hubert cover, but you know, on the inside it's Nestor Redondo.
Okay.
I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Well,
You
he's
know.
awesome.
Yeah.
On Swamp Thing, he just took over from the guy that you just couldn't get over taken over from. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was awesome.
He had impossible shoes to fill on Swamp Thing. He's a great artist, though.
And by the way, Shannon, is that a shirt from Jason's channel?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a Facebook group, and my wife, I think a few years ago, heard me talking about it, and I said, "Oh, I'd love to have one of those shirts," you know. And then I guess there was some kind of link on the Facebook page, but yeah, it's old guys who like old comics. And I don't know what's 1933 to 80. I can see the 86, but I don't know where the 1933 came in. Unless it's just comic strips.
Well, yeah, because they would take strips and they would fold them and fold them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, here's a question for you guys. Does anybody recognize this?
What is that?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
I can get it turned right. There we go.
Oh, goodness. That's great.
Is that a print or is that a original piece?
It's out of a comic book publication. But you see how big it is, so that's a hint. It came out of the House of Mystery Treasury.
Yeah. Why does he have, well.
Huh?
Okay, now I can see it more clearly. Yeah. I got blurry. I thought he was like wearing a helmet from Warlord. No, that's just his hair. Yeah.
Gregory.
Yeah, great.
Wrightson. Yeah, I found a copy of that was coverless. You know, when I first started collecting in the late 70s, it was a quarter at a flea market. It didn't have a cover, but man, I thought it was great because it had, you know, Adams reprint and Wrightson centerfold, and I grabbed that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I kept this part of it, but I just, you know, I don't know whatever happened to the rest of it. Of course, I've got one in my collection now, but I've had this on the wall ever since. It's still got tack holes in the corners.
That's cool. Here's something kind of random. Anybody remember this?
Valley of Guanji.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I love this movie.
Yeah, me too.
It's funny because where I'm such a Planet of the Apes fan, I was like, oh, James Francis is in that one too, you know.
Yeah.
You guys keep the discussion going. I need to make check on something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And yeah, that Valley of Guanji was one of those movies that it was Saturdays and Sunday afternoons, right, on television. Is where I saw all that Harryhausen stuff.
Right.
I saw Jason and the Argonauts different. I saw it in a small theater because it was a weird situation. But everything else, and I eventually saw it on TV too. But everything else, I mean, we were exposed to that stuff pretty much. It was kind of like, was it Saturday afternoon, like after cartoons, or maybe Sunday?
That's when I remember seeing it. It was on a Saturday.
On local like UHF stations, they would show them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, of course, I kept seeing that name Harryhausen, you know, that and the Argonauts. And I was like, there must be something that this guy does that's important. You know, of course, then later I found out, oh, so that's who Ray Harryhausen was.
Right.
He was a master. I mean, I love it.
I noticed it. Well, I was reading Famous Monsters already, so I had already kind of seen stuff in Famous Monsters and was piecing it together. And then at the same time, was it Golden Voyage of Sinbad came out when we were in about 7th or 8th grade, the one with Patrick Wayne, and it was promoted, and so then we definitely knew who Ray Harryhausen was.
Right.
You know, you can tell we don't have anybody in chat that's other than Paulo that's under 50 or so. No one put in the chat. What's UHF?
no one in the UHS.
Oh, there we go.
That's an incredible piece, Michael. That the dragon was amazing, and so is that Cyclops.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's by X Plus.
That's awesome.
And Micah needs to full screen that when he comes back.
Yeah, I'll keep him in here, and he can.
Yeah, Michael needs to start putting up videos again.
Well, you know, I was thinking about it, but I don't know. I know if I open up that Pandora's box, I'm going to fall in. So I've been putting it off.
Well, if you need advice on how to completely ignore your YouTube channel, just contact me. I do a fantastic job of ignoring mine.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at it too. I wouldn't
Yeah,
take any
you said it
advice
all.
from either.
Yeah, I got spoiled watching Michael stuff. He's all these big. It's like a panorama of like toys and horror stuff, and on a table. And said, "This is awesome!" And all of a sudden, he was gone. I'm like, "What the hell happened?" You know?
Yeah.
I need to watch your videos, Michael. I haven't seen them. I have to subscribe to you.
Yeah.
They're not up anymore.
No.
Oh no.
Because of that whole mess with COPPA, I got kind of PO'd and I rebelled.
And thus PO'd the rest of us off for taking all of it down. Yeah, those were awesome videos, man. I loved them.
If I decide to do it again, I'm going to remake them because I didn't like a lot of the aspects of those original videos, but I've still got all the stuff. So, I can redo them anytime.
Yeah, those are some killer model kits and toys. I loved it all. Yeah, but that was that show I went to today. I mean, it was great. I mean, everybody was. I mean, like you'll go to a few shows and you'll have some dealers that will be kind of like, okay, let's see, and they're kind of standoffish or they're not friendly. I mean, everybody there was just like, hey, how you doing?
Where was the show?
Russellville.
Now, was it pretty much just dealers or?
Yeah, it was just dealers. They had probably 4 or 5 tables that sold toys, and I mean, it was a free show, and a lot of the same guys that were at the Gallatin, Tennessee show last year, and it's some really good books. I mean, I was surprised.
See, I was hoping you were going to come up to the Cincinnati show because I ran in. It saw Jamie and.
What? When was that anyway?
Last weekend.
Last weekend.
Yeah. And it was good. I mean, there were a couple guys that had really nice stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was working that Saturday, so
way more toys and apparel and just things to do with Pokemon and anime and manga. But there were the dealers that were there. Yeah, I couldn't spend my way out of them. I tried. Yeah, it's didn't get anything as cool as the Journey into Mystery 112, but I said it was a good show.
Yeah, there was they just had one in Lexington at Rupp Arena. It was called they hadn't had it in a few years. Well, 2 or 3 years just because of COVID. It's called Swap Timber. Have you been to that one?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it's the guy that runs the local shop up here in Richmond. He's the one that puts that on, and it's just basically all comic stuff. It's a really good show.
Hey, Micah, if you make me big for just a second, I've got a couple of toys they wanted to see a little bit better. I'll never get used to moving these things around. But anyway, there's the Cyclops from 7th Voyage.
That's cool.
I told you yesterday when we practiced, you'll never get used to the camera because, you always go left or right.
Yeah, you were right. Here's the dragon that he fights.
Oh, wow.
Do any of you guys remember that the spell to call the genie, the kid genie? Well, how did that go?
Oh, man. What was that?
From the land beyond.
There you go.
Michael.
Past hope from the world, past hope and fear, I bid you, genie, now appear.
That's
yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Thank
somebody's
you.
standing in the room with me right now. I'm kidding.
From the land beyond, from the world past hope and fear, I bid you, genie, now appear. And he's rubbing on the lamp, right?
I could top that. Underdog was doing a sword fight, and then he had to put the sword down the back of his costume, and then later he starts complaining. He's always talking in rhyme. When I'm bent over, I'm right as rain, but when I stand up, there's a shooting pain.
Oh, that's from Underdog.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You're,
Here's Talos from
Well,
Jason and the Argonauts.
wow.
Oh wow.
These X Plus figures are pretty awesome, man.
No wonder I can't find any good toys. Michael has them all.
I got really lucky and found these at a toy liquidators, and I got them like dirt cheap. That was back in the 90s.
Wow.
And now you go on eBay and you try to buy them, and it costs a fortune.
Mhm.
I don't even try it. I just enjoy what I have.
Talking about those fantasy type movies. Anybody remember Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe?
I love that movie. Great movie.
Awesome.
Kind of scary. When I was a little kid, that movie had scary parts. I remember being
Oh
scared.
yeah. It was like
When the lady turned into a snake. Did the lady turn into a snake?
right.
Hmm.
And then like the big dragon at the end turned into a goldfish or something.
Right.
What-
And Dr. Lowe himself was a little bit creepy. The whole movie was
Right.
kind of creepy.
Yeah, it was that's Tony Randall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Randall and playing 7 different parts, I guess.
Right.
There's
Yimmer.
a Dreamer from 20 Million Miles to Earth.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great, man. Michael, you need to go down the rabbit hole and start putting videos up.
Yeah.
Dr. Lowe was like a moral parable, wasn't it? Like everyone
Right.
was being taught a lesson in
It
a
was almost
horrific
like
sense.
Willy Wonka in a way, you know.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. I actually got that on DVD somewhere. Yeah, that was a good one. That's another one of those Saturday matinee features.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I first saw it.
Yeah, it's like, but after cartoons, it's like that was what was on.
And it was great. There was great stuff.
From Golden Voyage, there's Kali.
Oh, that's awesome.
Got all her swords. I'm sure it would look spectacular out of the box, but I just like to keep things in the box when I can, you know.
you know, Michael, we could save time. We just take the camera into that other room you keep going to and show us.
You know, I was thinking about that. Would you guys like to see the living room?
We wouldn't turn you down. Sure.
Sure.
It's full of stuff. Let me see if I
Well, that's the point. Full of stuff.
We were talking before the stream started, and I said, so what's in the refrigerator? He says, there's nothing in there. It's not even plugged in. It's just he's in a kind of an old kitchen part of the house, and so he's got it all disconnected and everything. But
Oh, okay.
so
They might have cold beer at the ready
No,
or something.
no, he won't be opening that. But that might be a good place to hide some. You know.
I don't know. Boy trapped in refrigerator eats own foot. I remember that headline. It blazing into my memory.
Weekly World News, right?
Yep, exactly. Never play hide and go seek in a refrigerator.
Did you ever see the sci-fi show called The Chronicle?
No, I don't think so.
It was about 22, 23 years ago.
Yeah.
It was basically, the premise of it was all the headlines in the Weekly World News type papers were real, and they got away with it because no one believed them. So they would hunt down, they'd investigate these stories and whatnot, and it's a clever show. John Polito, the guys that I know, every time you see a fat roly-poly mobster or like that, it was him.
That guy.
Yeah, he was in Homicide the first 2 seasons, and when the network started interfering, they said, "Get rid of him. We want a pretty girl instead." So they killed him off and replaced him with an actress named Isabel Hoffman, who geeks would remember as Martin Stein's wife in the early seasons of the time travel show that the WB did, Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
I'd like to thank World Comics Review for joining us. Good to see you. Yeah, speaking of the boy trapped in the refrigerator, someone probably has the mock-up of that, probably in a frame somewhere. It's probably something I should make or something just for my own self. But okay, the camera is on the move. We'll go to you.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to do, guys, because the lighting might be a problem, but we'll give it a try.
Oh, we're used to this. We watch Gratu, so this.
Okay. Let's kind of get a. This is weird. I got to look at the computer and what I'm doing here so I see what you guys see. So.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway,
Cool.
Oh, are you?
There's a bunch of Distinctive Dummies figures on that wall. And there's the Bernie Wrightson print that came with Bernie Wrightson, A Look Back. It's called Don't Look Back. That's signed and numbered. And
Nice.
there is Kolchak 2-pack and the Salem's Lot 2-pack. Back there is a whole bunch of junk. Those boxes are full of action figures.
Wow.
And a bunch of stuff sitting on top of them. There's Elvira, of course. And there we have a bookcase. There's some of those figures I just showed on top. And then various things in front of DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. There's a Blackula figure.
Were those Marx Monsters on top of that shelf, Michael?
Yeah, but they're not original. They're knockoff from Mexico.
Right.
I bought them a long time ago, though. So
those are still really cool. I like the colors.
Yeah, the colors are weird. That's the reason I bought them. And there's some Ben Cooper mask up on top there.
Oh, that's cool.
And the Collinson twins autograph picture. There's the original art to Scary Monsters Annual 2002.
Wow.
When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth, there's original lobby card, Victoria Vetri. There's a German poster for Night of the Seagulls, the last Blind Dead movie.
Goodness. Wow.
There's some more Distinctive Dummies figures. That's a lot of the Hammer stuff, as well as Beast of Blood and Tombs of the Blind Dead Templar. There's some Brent Dolls figures down there. There's some Hammer figures there. That's from Curse of Frankenstein.
Oh, that's great.
And Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. And in the car, oh yeah.
Nice.
The poster.
Here's the Jack Davis
Love that
Ford
poster.
Yeah.
Jack Frankenstein.
And there's all kind of junk in that closet there. It's board games and model kits and non-post masks and dollar store toys and
Wow.
Well, then it's
old
not
Halloween stuff.
It's stuff. It's not junk.
Yeah.
And there's some model kits on top of the old entertainment cabinet. Oh, there's original painting for the cover of Scary Monsters number 39 by Terry Beatty. I've got the overlays to that too. I bought them directly from Dennis Dructinus. There's an autographed picture I ordered from the girl that played Kay on The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Julie Adams.
Yeah,
And
she's
of
beautiful.
course, she passed away. Thank goodness I got that. There's some Frazetta posters. There's an original creature painting by Robert Brown. There's a print by Robert Brown. And various models and pinback buttons on top of that, and some rings, some monster rings that the flicker rings, Universal Monsters. I'm gonna have to move this again to get the rest of this stuff, or part of it anyway. Oh boy. Okay, there's some more blow molds and figures and stuff. There's some Frazetta action figures, X-Plush dinosaurs, anchor hocking glasses, monster Sokies.
Wow.
There's the new Sokies from Super 7.
Huh, I haven't seen them.
And there's the pinback buttons, L-War pinback buttons put out, we think, by Warren. We know that Warren put out the small ones. You could buy those in gumball machines back then. And there's, just various things. And up here, some Trick or Treat Studios Frankenstein Masks, and there's the Glenn Strange Frankenstein. It was originally a candy bucket that's really hard to get now. That's a repro made out of resin. A candy bucket's like $1,000 now when you can ever find them, and they're usually damaged pretty bad. And there's various things. There's some Halloween clickers, and here's the Tingler. This actually crawls across the floor because it vibrates, and the way the little things are on the bottom of it, it makes it skitter along like the Tingler did in the Vincent Price movie. And there is Monster Super Balls and different things. Models, Scary Monsters crap. There's some Vampirella action figures, a Pinplex creature from the Black Lagoon. There's the Seaview from the Remco playset. 4 of the X-Plus figures, the small ones made out of resin. Those 2 are the Cyclops from from Seventh Voyage. That's the Emer from 20 Million Miles to Earth. Here's some pinback buttons. There's let's see, the baddie button. I'm still missing 2 of those monster baddie buttons. And there's 14 of the 24 ugly buttons. Those have artwork by Wally Wood. And who's the guy that worked on the Mars Attacks cards?
Oh,
I don't know his name. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I know him well, but it escapes me right now. And there's some pencil sharpeners, monster pencil sharpeners and rings, and Were Weirdos, and various things. And over there is, well, let me get over here closer with this. This is an extremely rare window box King Kong playset. You never see these things.
Michael, I think it was Norman Saunders, according to this.
Yes, you're right. It was Norm Saunders. You're absolutely right.
Is that from the King Kong cartoon show, Michael?
Yeah, the King Kong show. And that's complete. The packaging is a little deep, but you just never find it, man.
Who's the producer of that? That Marx or Remco?
That is MPC.
Oh, MPC. Wow.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I didn't
rare.
show you the best stuff in the cabinet in there. I got to go back and do that. There's some
really rare
things from the dollar store in different places. Yeah, let me go in here and show you this. Here's my MPC monster shelf right here.
Wow.
My mind is blown, dude.
Those boxes behind him, man.
Yeah,
And those are the real Marx
pack,
figures above, right?
Yeah.
And there's the bunch of stuff up there.
Holy moly. I love those cavemen. I have those same cavemen you have right there.
Yeah. And there's the Dawn Post creature mask. And the grenade pistol from Hamilton's Invaders. Yeah, this laptop gets a little heavy when you're holding it a certain way. And there's some Marx Monsters right there.
Boy.
The teal blue ones in the middle are the first issue from 1963. The orange ones came out in 1964. Now, I had those when I was a kid. These aren't those ones because I beat them up. I played with them hard, but I bought all of these later on, from different places, usually eBay. The green ones are from the 70s, from a Mexican factory that was part of Marx, and they changed their name to Plastimarx in 1972 when Marx was bought out by, I think it was Quaker Oats that bought them. There's the Palmer Monsters in front. And here's some Hamilton's Invaders pieces.
Wow.
And the Distinctive Dummies, that's the first Hammer series from Distinctive Dummies. And there's some Nutty Mads down there. I got all 18 of those. And down there is Campus Cuties and the Blame It's and the Small Nutty Mads and some other stuff. And let's see, here's books, and there's a bunch of small stuff, Rat Finks and some Zachary pinbag buttons. He was called Roland then. He was based in Philadelphia at first. Then he went to New York and became Zachary. There's the rings, the creepy and eerie rings, and the soil from Dracula's castle. There's the original fan club cards for Vampirella Creepy, and there's the very old Famous Monsters fan club card. And there's the one for Fantastic Monsters of the films. You never see those, never. And a lot of books and, you know, stuff. Here's the book that they put out for Bernie Wrightson back in '78. Bernie Wrightson will look back. I've got to sign the number one of those. And there, of course, EC reprints. There's the toy dinosaur shelves. Some Carnegie Safari. There's some stuff from the 60s. The Tootsie Toy. And the stuff you got in Fritos, corn chips. And, oh man, there's Sinclair down there. Oh yeah, all those flat ones there are put out by Best Plastics. A lot of people call them Palmers, but it's not Palmer, it's Best Plastics. And there's the stuff that you could get out of the machines at the for the Sinclair dinos back in the day. Moldomatic, I think was the name of it. Anyway, I got all those, and there's some old price guides and books.
Yeah.
And there's some reissue kits from Polar Lights of the monster rods. And there's the Diamond Select Creature with K. And Hamilton's Invaders pistol. And I've got most of my TV DVDs and Blu-rays in this one, along with a bunch of toys and kits. And there's an old Horror Monsters grab bag. And there's a Spooky Surprise. That was another one of those grab bag things. And, you know, some display cards for gumball machines with rings and just, you know.
Michael, you're busy doing this. Just letting you know in the chat, they're really loving this. So this is fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It is.
They're loving it on the panel too.
this is top.
Okay. Now this is the Vern Langdon zombie action figure here. The big one, I ordered that off of Vern Langdon's site. And that small one is by Brent's Dolls. And here is the tiki mug and the swizzle sticks of the Vern Langdon zombie mask. And over here, I kind of glossed over this, but this is the reissue of the Vern Langdon zombie mask from 2001 by Vern Langdon and Kelly Mann. And it's got a certificate of authenticity. It's no, wait, that's not from 2001. That's, what is that, 03 or whatever? Anyway, it's number 15 of the mask. And I got it on a Frankenstein poser, a sideshow poser. And I'll just give you a glimpse. Yeah, now this is real common stuff here. I'm sure most of you guys have these. It's the stuff you could get at Target about 4 or 5 years ago, the Universal Monster stuff from Monster Land is the brand name of it.
So, Michael, do you need anybody to house sit for you while you're?
Well, probably not. Here's my good comics, my older comics I keep up here.
Wow.
And here's my monster magazines over here. And there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't have room for anywhere else I put on top of those boxes.
Man, I wish I was this organized, Michael. Your setup is great. Very impressive.
Thank you, man. There's a Forbidden Planet reissue poster, which is not original, but
Wow.
and there's more Distinctive Dummies figures, 1950s monsters. And there's the Boris Karloff set, and there's some more like the digest size stuff, you know. And over here is some more Distinctive Dummies figures. There's Christopher Lee as Duke de Richelieu from The Devil Rides Out, and there's the Roy Ashton collection. The lighting's really bad in here, but anyway, let me get over here and see if. Now you can't see that. Let me turn this light on here and see if I can get it where you can see it. Hang on just a second. This may not help much. Okay, yeah, it helps some. There's the Phantom of the Opera, Herbert Lom, and there's the Reptile. Those are 12-inch figures, and there's Arthur Grimsdyke from Tales from the Crypt. And there is some of the Funko Mad Monster Party figures. And let's see, wait just a second. I wasn't prepared for this at all.
It's okay. Hey, Michael, I'm going to ask you a question while you're doing this.
Yeah.
Anthony Pernew wants to know, do you have a replica 1966 Shrimpenstein, which was a local Los Angeles puppet show?
No, I sure don't.
Okay.
No, I sure don't. And there's the werewolf, the Paul Naschy werewolf from The Werewolf and the Vampire Woman. And there's Dr. Shrek, Dr. Terror. That's Peter Cushing from Dr. Terror's House of Terror. That's pretty much it. I got a, oh yeah, can't see in there, but it's full of play sets and stuff.
Wow.
There's the Fright Factory and Creepy Crawlers and
Man,
Creeple People, and those are actually complete and sealed.
do you have a mystery spaceship, a Marx mystery spaceship?
No, I don't.
What?
No, the one that spins on the gyro.
Huh?
The one that spins on the gyroscope kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but I don't have one, no.
You know, if you took those clothes out, you could fit a lot more in that closet.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're absolutely right.
You have everything.
Exchange machine. I had one of these as a kid. I love that. The graphics on that box is just so awesome.
Yep.
That's made by Mattel. It came out in '67, I think.
So is that the one that would jam it down into like a little cube?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the cube would turn into a dinosaur when it got heated up by a heating element or something?
Yeah. Now these are really hard to find. They're the library cases for the Warren titles. I've got the Vampirella, Famous Monsters, Eerie and Creepy of those.
Oh, that's cool.
And here's the door poster for Vampirella.
Yeah, love that
That's the
poster.
Harris. I've got the original Warren, but I keep it rolled up in one of those tubes. And a Rat Fink helmet, and this blow mold of this haunted house is pretty hard to find and expensive these days, and so is that green one there. And there's some more masks from Trick or Treat Studios. There's the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Beast of Blood, Fulci Zombie. And there's a couple of pretty hard to find action figures of the Cornball movies, Blood of Dracula and Horror Party Beach, but they're cool figures. And there's a bunch of old Halloween costumes down there that haven't gotten out of the way yet. Now that game there, Forbidden Territory, is pretty cool. It's a board game, and it's got all the Hammer characters in it, and it's got some great figures that are painted, metal figures that are painted. That is worthy of a video on its own.
Just think, folks, he has yet to show us one comic.
You have so much stuff that would make so much great videos, Michael. You should definitely get back on your channel. You have some great stuff.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, well, that's about it.
Yeah. Fabulous.
You know, Michael, on second thought, you really don't have anything interesting, so just forget what I said about those videos.
No, and in all seriousness, he bought many of these comics off the stands, so I'm sure they're dynamite in their own self. So,
oh yeah.
And we welcome Dr. Silver Age, who has woken up from his hibernation.
Hey, Rod.
Yeah. Excellent. Well thought out and well organized, and good use of space. Fantastic. So,
yeah. Kind of reminds me of After Comics room.
Yeah.
As far as the way he's got it set up, it's really great.
I have to smash everything together. I'm eclectic up here, and so what's Jackson Roykirk saying? Yeah. Yeah, he took a lot of. I'm speaking of Mike about you, Michael. He took a lot of videos down a few years ago when YouTube was telling everybody they were going to crack down on things, and so. But yeah, you might want to make a small walkthrough video, but for your channel down the road. So
yeah.
And try to get a hold of Michael Dodd on YouTube. I typed in his name, and there's about 15 other fellas named Michael Dodd. So,
now I can't get my camera lined back up properly. It's okay. That's very unwieldy trying to carry a laptop around and do that.
I can imagine. You know.
So, where do we go from there?
Oh, well, we just have a great chat. That's all.
Yeah, Elvis has left the building.
That was amazing. That was.
I'm glad you guys liked it. I get kind of complacent because I see it all the time, but I imagine it. You know, it would be fun if you don't look at it every day.
So, were most of these childhood pickups, or this is something well after you're an adult?
No, I don't have much left from my childhood. I've been buying this stuff for years. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for eBay, for all the grief that we give eBay, I wouldn't have just a small percentage of this, because it's not available around this part of the country. And I built it mostly just from eBay purchases over the years, you know.
Great stuff.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Oh yeah. And don't just because you kind of walk through. If you go, I want to show you guys a close up, and you go get it like you were doing. Feel free to do that as well.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm going to ask Eric, what'd you think of the white helmets? Talking about Cincinnati Bengals, folks. They had white helmets for some reason.
It was, the last year that they debuted something new was 81, and they went to the Super Bowl that year.
That's when they had the stripes on the helmet.
It was interesting. What's the weirdest thing about that was you see real sports towns and real crowds at stadiums like the whiteout. Seeing that in Cincinnati after so many years of vacillating back and forth between moribund and rising to being that first Saturday exit and day one of the playoffs every year. It was really cool to see something like that, and then following it up with a primetime win, which the Bengals are notorious for never doing. So last year's Super Bowl appearance, now I'm not saying they get there again this year because Super Bowl losers have a tendency not to even get back to the playoffs next year, but I think they've got something here, which is kind of nice, considering the Reds have recused themselves from Major League Baseball.
Oh, you mean the Double-A team, right? Yeah.
I don't know why you felt the need to insult Double-A.
And Shannon's friend here has mentioned Russellville. I've heard more about Russellville the last few days.
Yeah, Rob.
Him
and his son, he made out like a bandit too. Yeah, it was just great. I mean, there was one guy had a couple of tables. I mean, it was just loose comics, not bagged or boarded. Probably looked like they hadn't been taken care of. And there was everything from Marvel 2-in-1 to like Golden Age Westerns to, and he didn't have prices on anything. So what do you want for this? Is it, $5, $3, and they were just like, okay. And it was like a feeding frenzy,
Well, that's one thing that we didn't have any of at the Cincinnati show. There were no like $2 boxes of like well-loved Silver and Bronze Age stuff, or nothing even close to that. There was one guy that had dollar boxes, but they were better than the dollar boxes you see in stores now. But it was still, and if there was I got a couple Silver Age books out of there, but that was because they were absolutely destroyed.
Right.
Thanks, Rod.
For those of you just joining us, earlier Shannon showed some great books he got from a convention, and he said he made out like a bandit. He really did. And unless you guys have got together and said the same thing, he also repeats what you say, basically. So,
well, it was funny. I told him I was going to try to come. It's kind of like a last-minute decision, but yeah. He did. He had like a stacks of like Golden Age War and Western, and it was just like he didn't have one comic box. I mean, it was all like in piles, and he had somebody else bring some other boxes in, and they were like down on the floor, and Rob was down there like, of course I was doing that earlier, but yeah, I was like, wow, but there was some good stuff there.
Well, Michael, let me introduce you to the great Gratu. Gratu, this is Michael Dodd.
Hey.
You'll recognize him from the chat. His avatar was the House of Secrets first appearance of Swamp Thing. So,
yeah, of course.
Hopefully you were watching minutes ago.
Yeah, we were just getting back from the restaurant. It was amazing.
And had a great tour of the house. So, you all have shown some great things. This has been fantastic. So, and welcome to all that are joining us. So, had a couple of people that don't usually show up. Earlier we had Horizon Picks. I'll try to find him real quick. There we go. He runs a little auction from time to time, selling all kinds of things. So, clothing and hats and occasional comic books. I almost bought an Amazing Adventures, like the second appearance of the Beast from him, but I backed out the last second. So I don't know if Horizon Pick still has that available. And we've had Horror Mike from time to time. Good to see you. And Christopher, seen a lot more Christopher lately. It's good to see you, Chris. So we thank everybody for joining us in the chat. So Gratu, what are you up to?
Well, I was just coming back from the restaurant watching the Trump rally, and but I thought I'd come on. Are you guys wrapping up?
No. I'm just kind of rehashing for people that are just tuning in. Here's why not. We hope to have him
hey, Tony,
one of these days to show some of his great artwork. Yeah, he reached out to me. He has contacted me on Instagram, and it dawned on me, I'm such a dummy. His name is Tony.
Yeah.
I did not figure that. Why not Tony backwards? So that's great. Yeah, Jackson even goes. Sometimes I run into Jackson in the craziest places. So he was over at the Horizon Pixels auction. Yeah, he had a great, Amazing Adventure, early Beast appearance, and good price too. I probably should have just gone ahead and got it. But.
Was that the one with Iron Man on the cover?
No, I think it was the second one. He's kind of it's this whole standing image of him, and yeah, he's got pants on, and I can't describe it, but
okay.
I thought a very good price, good condition. Yes, we'll be glad to have you. So next Wednesday we'll be we'll do what we always do with a variety of stuff, but I'll start bringing up some ghost comics, and I'll even be showing some of that. Here's some nice ghost action for you. So had a lot of fun last year with spooky stuff. So, but there'll also be Superman and all kinds of other stuff.
Halloween memories. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and Michael, did I already ask you this, or maybe I asked you in before we hit live? You've recently completed all of the Turok. I know I asked you that because we started talking about Valiant. But was it difficult to get all of them, or?
Well, it wasn't too bad because I bought almost a full run of Turok in one big lot, which included number 1. I had to upgrade a lot of those and fill in some holes, but I had the skeleton of the run that way, and it wasn't like you're just nitpicking here and there and taking forever that way,
Yeah.
I think it was like $400 buying that lot, which included number 1, which is in good, which I don't mind that, especially for a book that expensive, And there were a few of them in it that were less than good, though. And when they get to be less than good, unless it's something really expensive, I'd rather upgrade it. So I had to upgrade quite a few of those. Got rid of those beaters, and tried to get mid-grade at least. But I ended up with a decent run.
Well, guys, I hate to cut out, but my stomach is growling. I haven't had anything since I got home. So
All right, Shannon.
I'm going to put a stack of books by the bedside and read myself to sleep later.
Good to see you. Feel free to show some of those Wednesday in case people have missed it. So
yeah, if I can get on, I'll try. I'm not sure, but
okay.
If not, I'll try to catch you some other time.
All right.
Good job,
everybody. Hey, Michael.
Take care, Shannon.
Yeah, man.
Try to, Micah.
See you.
See you.
See you guys later.
Okay.
Meyer, how's things in California?
Yeah, same.
Same.
Yeah, all good. It's kind of an overcast day here, but everything's quiet. All quiet on the Western Front.
So far. So far.
Watched a little college football today, earlier.
Yeah, I watch Alabama, and their quarterback got hurt.
Yeah, I saw some of that Alabama, Arkansas.
And no one noticed.
Yeah, I know.
The guy they put in ripped off a 77-yard run.
Yeah.
Maybe they should do what they did a few years ago and take pity on Oklahoma and send one of them there. Good Lord. I think they just gave yep, they just gave up another touchdown.
Yeah, sometimes Shannon's has put pressure on me in the past. You should do a Saturday show. I'm thinking, yeah, but I miss my college football. So, but this was definitely worth it. So, and I'll tell you, YouTube's been really great about some of these guys make great highlight videos, and I can watch a game I missed in just minutes. It's fantastic.
So you need to be set up, 5 feet away from a 55-inch television, so you can catch the action in your peripheral vision.
I used to right over there, but we had to take that antenna and put it in the living room. And who cares? But
it comes in handy when you have to give up your Saturday nights for auctions for 2 years.
Is there an auction tonight?
No, he has no power.
Oh, okay.
He had it, and then it went. Apparently, they shut his neighborhood off to fix the next neighborhood over. Or that's what he said, but yeah. Either way, yeah, he's down for the count.
picked up a bunch of paperbacks recently, and I wasn't going for Heathcliff, but the guy had some Heathcliff in there, so they're okay. I'll take them any day. But I wanted these Spider-Mans, so.
Yeah, those are cool. I hadn't seen those before you showed them today.
Me either.
I don't remember seeing those.
Can you throw a couple of them back up? I wasn't here when you did.
Yeah, I didn't see them.
Okay. Full screen. I thought I clicked it. There we go. So this is number one, the John Romita newspaper strips.
Right. Okay.
And they're color. Are they color on the inside, Micah?
They sure are. So, and I just assumed that was pretty standard. But when Eric showed me,
yeah, the strips were black and white originally, except the Sunday one would have been in color.
But so Dr. Doom, then Dr. Octopus, and at the very end, it sets you up for the Rattler. And so in book 2, you'll get to see the Rattler. Here's the back cover. I was very pleased with these.
They look like they're in brand new shape. They look really good.
Page is pretty white. And, you know, the artwork's just fantastic. So, and then here comes the Kingpin. So I was just asking Eric, did they have a larger version of this? And I'd probably like that. Although he was showing you they turn it sideways and print the strips.
I kind of like that they were colorized. I'm not a fan of it when Ted Turner did it, but kind of like this.
This is maybe like one of the earliest points when our thing was being offered up to the masses, the slobbered masses.
Right.
Our secret club was being shared with like normies at this point.
And they let Romita do it, so it wasn't like they just had some guy in the background, who works part-time for Marvel. So
no, it looks just like the real thing. And Stan Lee was supposedly writing.
It looks like Silver Age comics. I question the writing at that point in Stan Lee's career. I don't remember those newspaper strips being very well written.
Well, they were definitely written for people who didn't read Spider-Man. They were, like I said, they were for the normies.
Right.
Yeah, Stan Lee is like, Paul McCartney in 1980 wasn't like Paul McCartney in 1965, and same thing with Stan Lee. There was something happened, like maybe a blow to the head or something. But
well, he didn't have Jack.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's definitely
but it seemed like he was more on autopilot. He wasn't.
He was, that autopilot was on its way to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as he had Kirby and Ditko, he didn't have to reach for good ideas.
Right.
Yeah. Then he also had early on, Bill Everett, Wally Wood,
Yeah.
Don Heck. I mean, you could do a lot with just that ball pen.
He insulted
Yeah.
Wally Wood's writing ability, as I recall, and ran him off.
Yeah, if you remember that old Daredevil, he's written it right into those early panels, and it makes it seem like, well, Wally, he really wanted credit. I don't know why he wanted credit, but he's getting a little bit of writing credit. He really played it up like, I'll just have to eat this one, folks, and let Wally take credit. He really griped. And I'm reading this. I know I'm reading between the lines, but to me, you really get that when you read it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll never know now if that was a joke that just didn't land.
Yeah,
because Wally Wood had his own set of problems.
Yeah,
and there might have been more to it than we'll ever know. But yeah, it's or I guess maybe Stan clashed with the truly creative people, because if you think of the people he had problems with, Stan, or Jack, Steve, Wally Wood.
Yeah.
But I said we'll never know, because I said I know from a little bit of experience, drunks aren't easy to get along with sometimes.
And
or so I'm told, because I don't remember. But
Romita stepped in right when Kirby left. So Romita's doing those covers for those Fantastic Four, like, was it 105, 108, something like that.
Yeah.
A company man. So I don't think him and Stan ever, that I know of, clashed. I think Stan probably looked at Romita as, I better hold on to this guy. Because
if I'm not mistaken, Romita was artist first. I don't know that he had any writing aspirations. I'm sure he contributed to the plots, but
yeah.
I don't know how much. Yes, I know Steve was a plotter more so than a scripter, and as we found out when Jack struck out on his own, he was more of a plotter too. But I'm reading some Fourth World stuff now, and I said you just wonder how good that would have been if Stan had done the dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue was,
because boy, we get on guys like Bob Haney for being 40-something-year-old man trying to write hip lingo for kids. Holy crap! Jack laid it on with a trowel.
And he wasn't very good at naming the characters either.
No, he would have been great naming Rob Liefeld characters at Image.
Oh dear. Kirby's writing, those first 30 issues of Commandy, I enjoy his writing.
I really like the Demon. I like his,
Yeah, the Demon was good. His plots were pretty good, but the scripting, I mean, he just, all this unnatural dialogue coming from these characters.
And if there's ever going to be a place to do that and not have it noticed, would be something with The Last Boy on Earth and animal, what was it, anthropomorphic? So I mean, it might have. Oh, it just fits in perfect. Here.
Yeah, I think the Kirby writing on Commandy was probably superior to Miracle Man, so to speak.
Yes.
Or what was it? Forever People? I don't think I could ever even make it through one issue of Forever People. It was just
so
disjointed.
It looked good, but
it looked great.
Yes, I agree, Jackson.
Here's how old we're getting. His son is now
Hello,
older. Ash. If you got time, Ash, links in the chat. Hop on.
Yep.
Yeah, John Romita Jr. is now older than Senior was when he had stopped doing comics.
Wow.
And if anybody picked up the latest issue of Amazing Spider-Man, it shows.
That cover's terrible.
It is. I mean, it's like, yeah, if she looked like that in the 60s, he would have been with MJ from the jump.
I have no idea what's going on with current comic books. I just completely remove myself from that whole world, man.
Ash, just round yourself up one more year.
Yeah. Michael, to your point, I stopped at the end of 92. Gratu stopped probably around 84. What you got there, Mike?
Here's the first Spider-Man that I ever bought, like off the stands at 7-Eleven.
That is cool, man. Is that the actual OTR copy?
Yeah, this is the first one. This was the beginning. This was actually the first superhero comic that I bought with my own money, because up to this point I was just buying Richie Rich and Casper, Sad Sack, that sort of thing. For some reason, this cover captured my attention, and it stayed a part of my comic collection for years and years. The corners are a little bit beat up because it used to, you'd go like to a sleepover at your friend's house and you'd take like 6 or 8 comics. I took this comic with me everywhere for years and years. Yeah.
That was my first back issue of Spider-Man. I started too late. I was 13 when I started collecting regularly.
But you know what? Also about this story is that, so for all those years, I never read the second half to this story. So for me, this whole story was just that cliffhanger of him going in to help out Kurt Connors in Florida or something, and Morbius showing up, him getting the arms, the whole thing. That's all I had of the entire story. I didn't have any more.
That's so weird. Same here. I didn't see 102 for years after I'd read that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm the exact opposite. I have 102. I still have my OTR copy for 102. And I missed 101. I never did get one. Now I've got a reprint of it in my collection. Because I don't buy expensive comics anymore. If it's over $20, I'm probably going to buy a reprint.
So Christopher in the chat, he stopped about the same time I did. I was a little late 92.
About 94 for me.
Because I didn't like the art that was coming out. I didn't like the direction of the stories. The Fantastic Four, they had a great thing going with Johnny Storm and the Skrull Elijah. You guys have heard me rant about this before. And they totally didn't know how to handle that. Captain America wasn't doing that great. We just survived him being a wolf for a while. Put up with that. Then it's like they were breaking up the Avengers into nothingness. And I just got sick and tired of it. And the art on Thor was getting crazy. And
it got so bad. Remember that what was that crossover Blood and Thunder with that terrible art in it? Tom Grummett or something?
That one Tom Grummett. He's at least a good artist, but I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, it was.
You know what I'm talking about? It was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Early 90s, I was liking Thunderstrike, the secondary Thor character, because I liked the character. Some like Gratu has seen my wife, but I was married before, and here you had Thunderstrike. He's going through a divorce. He's got a child, and it was like, this is a great character, and Marvel didn't know what to do with that. And he had his own series for a little while, and they just kind of blew that. They tried to spin him off with a love triangle, Lady Sif, and it's like, oh, come on, guys. So I just, when I talk like this, I make Dr. Silver Age very, very sad because he goes, I liked all that, but to each his own, of course. But I just had to stop.
Now, one series. Yeah, did you ever read the Spider Girl series?
No,
I did. I like that.
You would like that, I think, Micah, because it was definite 70s feel, and they created their own like little universe, and Eric Masterson's son was carrying on the mantle.
Okay.
And it was, like I said, it lasted 100 issues. They kept trying to cancel it, but back then Marvel would actually listen to fans, and it got, the governor pardoned it about 4 or 5 times, so it made it to 100. Then another 30 issue series after that, and then a couple of mini series. But it was basically, it started from a what if story. Because remember when Mary Jane had a baby? Well, she had a baby, and Norman kidnapped it.
No.
But then they put that whole plot. Basically, they kind of just forgot about it. They didn't officially retcon it. They just kind of pretended like it didn't happen. But this series was her as a 15-year-old high school student. Peter had to retire because he was injured in his last fight with the Green Goblin and had to have his leg amputated. So he had the prosthetic, and so he was retired and working for the police. But it was a really, really good series, and it just, like I said, it really recaptured the 70s feel.
I just realized one day, there's a lot of 70s DC that I totally neglected when I was younger because I was such a Marvel guy that I'll never be able to get all of this. Like Michael Dodd was saying earlier, that Spider-Man 101, I don't have it as well. I've got 102. Shannon showed one earlier tonight. I've got the 102. I don't have the 101. So there's Conan Barbarian I'm missing. There's various other things. I'll never get them all, but there's so much for me to go chase gold, silver, and bronze, a little bit of copper that I'm still happy.
I'm right there with you. I
I'm
agree.
with you too,
I'm
man.
still enjoying reading Golden Age stuff constantly. Like I mix that in with the old regular stuff like the Silver and Bronze Age, but then I also read Japanese stuff that I really like. I really enjoy the Japanese stuff.
And you got a lot of monster magazines and related things.
Yeah.
A whole world of that stuff, man.
Yeah, I'd be fine never reading another new comic, and I very rarely do. It's mostly an occasional indie here and there, but
yeah. And I totally dig. You support. I'm trying to find him in the chat. He just
Joe Corallo.
Yeah, he was in there a second ago. I just posted. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll support him. I said, he's a friend, and I hope he gets on at one of the big two and lights a fire under somebody's ass, because either company would be well served to hire him.
Yeah, here. For those of you wanting to know who I'm talking about, but yeah, I totally dig that. That's cool.
I still how he just turned 37. How he knows as much as he does. It's like he and Paulo just amaze me with their knowledge.
Well, some of this is just being a good nerd.
There's being a good nerd. There's having like a photographic memory or that close to it. But like I said, I'm 60. Of course, my memory is like a sieve. So but yeah, I said it's always, that's why I let Joe pick 90% of the retrospectives we do, because I said most of the ones he picks are older than him.
And it's all about what we love. I'm an old Donald Duck fan, so I can tell you his middle name, but that'll never do me any good unless I'm on a trivia show. It's Fauntleroy, by the way. But I don't know. and Paulo, and people like certain things, and so they'll study it, and that's. I could tell you a lot about Dick Tracy, but these are just things. These are just things we totally love.
And
so,
Paulo agreed with me on the M2 stuff. He was saying how he's a big fan of A Next. That was the
here we go, Meyer.
Avengers story or
I
title.
got two of these.
Oh, you got two, Meyer. I've got all of them except Churchy.
Is that the dog?
No, the turtle.
The turtle. Okay.
Yeah, Beauregard is the dog. So
Beauregard. And then here's just this beat up Dr. Doolittle that was sitting on the kitchen table that needs to be cleaned up. Remember that? Hey, Mike, I was thinking you can take it off me.
Sure.
Did you ever read The Warlord by Mike Grell?
Well, he's like this. He's 70s DC. I was still chasing all Fantastic Four and X-Men.
I think it's a really fun title, and it's still like not popular, and it's still really inexpensive, right, guys? I mean, I really like The Warlord. I haven't read it in a long time, but I think it probably still holds up. I liked it as a kid a lot. I read it every month for a couple of years. Yeah.
Once you get past the first issue special, number 8, and the first issue of the regular series, it gets really, really inexpensive.
I have to answer Jackson's question here. The skunk was Miss Hepzibah, very attractive girl that Pogo slightly had a crush on. So, yeah, I've got a few Warlords, not very many, but it's drawn fantastic.
I've got all the Grell issues, and I think I'm missing a few after 100, but they didn't go much past that anyway. And those later issues are kind of iffy, but the Grell issues are good, man. I was buying them off the rack when I was, a teenager.
Yeah, me too. I started probably like issue 10 or 12 was my first issue, and for some reason, so it was a number of years, just like all you guys, until I actually had a real comic shop. So I was relying on 7-Eleven and Safeway, which was places that I would walk to multiple times during the week to look for stuff to buy, candy, Mad Magazine, and comic books. And so what was there was just what was left, because obviously there were people that were in the know that were older than me or more knowledgeable collectors that knew what day of the week the comics arrived at Safeway and 7-Eleven, and they bought all the Hulks, the Thors, and the Spider-Man. And so Warlord was a title that was always there. It was never sold out. There was always a couple of issues every week, so I was able to buy that every week.
Hello, Wildcat, 1970. You're like me. 70 was a great year.
Buddy Saunders, the founder of Lone Star Comics, when he was a teenager, early mid 60s, knew all the spots in Arlington, Texas, and went and bought up all the Marvel like immediately the day they came out. And because he was already doing a mail order business.
Yes,
like the Kennedy era.
It's Wednesday, Froggy. You've missed work a few days. So. Yeah, say sure.
Can you make me a mod so I can run him?
I can make it Jambo. That was the only one.
Or at least put him in timeout.
He did pretty good on that puppet reading.
I like John Sable too.
The other day he didn't.
John Sable's great series. See,
Oh,
Ash,
totally.
that's back when indies were king.
Yeah. They sold well at that comic shop I told you guys I worked in like 82, 83. That stuff was new. First Comics and Pacific Comics. And it was popular. It was selling. We were selling out of pretty much everything, really, honestly, except for like the crap.
I'm sorry to see Pacific go, but at least First bought a couple of the titles from them, and then Eclipse came along, and they gave us a lot of really good stuff too. And then Kamiko, and so there was I still I mean I'd get pushback certainly from Ash, but I'd say that the '80s to me was the best decade for indies.
Yeah, I really like that Johnny Quest series from the '80s.
Oh yeah, Kamiko
by Comico. Yeah, it was good, man.
Yeah, I remember one in particular Dave Stevens cover.
Yeah. I think that was Jezebel Jade.
It was.
Yeah. Great series.
We don't talk about it on this channel at all. Oh, which guy? Oh, yeah, Johnny Quest. Yeah, the one issue I don't have, he's got like 47 of them.
I'll get you one of them.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like 6 or 7 of them.
I didn't want to make you feel bad. I should have said that.
No, I was already thinking that the other night.
I'll tell you an indie title that, like I said, doesn't get talked about on this channel much. And it's past its heyday. But I really liked Bone. But, of course, you know, I like Pogo. And, of course, he always attributes his style to Walt Kelly's Pogo. And I really liked it. Now, the ending I thought was a little, but it's grown on me over the years. But that first half of his was, and unlike you guys picked up a lot of the 80s indies. You know, this was a new thing for me. What is cartoon books? You know, his own self-published. I thought that was very cool. Before he went to Image for a little while, came back, but I thought it was well drawn, and I totally got into the characters. Of course, you've seen what I collect. I collect funny animal and silly stuff as well as the superheroes. So it was right up my alley because it becomes into this weird adventure. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on it or not, but I really liked Bone. It doesn't get, you know, much talked about or play, but
there you go, Froggy. Now you can't see it, just on the avatar.
I never read Bone. I thought, didn't he like option that for a Disney movie or something? Didn't he make a bunch of money eventually from it, or not?
I think he wanted to, and it was a good logical step because his little figures would be dynamite.
Right.
But I would try to practice drawing. He's got Phony Bone, Foam Bone, and Smiley Bone. I tried to draw Smiley with that little cigar. Because to me, Smiley Bone was Albert the alligator from Pogo.
Yeah.
In just a more cornball way. But by issue 10, they have the Great Cow Race. And if you guys have never read the Great Cow Race,
Yeah, I never read it.
it really is a cow race. And it is I can't recommend it enough.
So is it Barks like? Is it, because it always looked to me that it was kind of like a Disney thing, like.
Well, I can see where you could say it's Disney-like, but this is, I think, miles better than anything Disney could do.
I'm gonna check it out.
And they put them all into trades or hardbacks. So, but
so you recommend I should pick up that first trade of Bone to give it a try?
yeah, if you can get the paperback is like the first 6 issues or first 7.
All right.
And then keep going and get the second one because by the 10th issue is the cow race, and that's been building up. And you go, are they really going to embrace it? And they do, and it's funny. It's funny, and then it turns into this serious. Oh my goodness! There's these evil rat creature monsters that are terrorizing people, and it's, yeah, highly recommend it. But I can see where a guy who's 20 or 30 picking that up would be kind of like looking over his shoulder. Has anybody seen me pick this up? Because it doesn't look as serious as, something really cool. But it's a nice little thing to have. And just you keep reading as long as you want to. They'll get to a point where you're like, well, wait a minute. I thought I was going in this direction. It got a little weird. But maybe if you binge read it, it'll probably make a lot more sense. But I started falling in love with the art. And it's I can't describe it, but black and white. But it's I thought it was pretty cool. What's going on? Go ahead, sir.
I think Bone was. I could be wrong. Was a local guy where I used to live in Arlington, Texas, but I could be. I thought he was out of Texas.
His name was Jeff Smith.
Yeah, I thought he was a Texas artist, but I could be wrong.
That's a good point Ash just made there. It really did. They definitely had there's a distinct difference between Marvel and DC and, say, a First and a Pacific.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, I said back then it was almost like that's where Marvel and DC got the talent from. Now people are leaving Marvel and DC because they're better off doing indies. And we call First an indie. I mean Image an indie, but they're a pretty big company it's kind of doesn't really feel like, say, a First did 40 years ago.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't consider Image to be an independent comic anymore.
I don't know.
But yeah, Pacific. Remember, Gru was maybe the biggest hit. Gru was like maybe the bust out hit that I remember.
Yeah, and Star Slayer, that's where the first Rocketeer appearance was in number 2, and I think Grimjack was in number 10.
Yeah,
Grimjack was in hit as well. Yep.
We just picked up a collection from a guy that haven't been through all 3 boxes. I mean, I've looked at them, and it may have had all of the Grus. So that's going to make somebody happy. I mean, it's never been, my cup of tea, but I've never seen so many Grus in one spot in my life.
They had some good horror and science fiction titles back in the 80s. They had Twisted Tales and Alien Worlds. And Eclipse had Tales. What was the name of it? Meyer Tales Too Terrible. It's not Tales Too Terrible to Tell. That's the reprint thing. But it was another title just about like Twisted Tales.
There was. Oh crap! What was that called?
I've got them all. It's like 13 issues. I just can't remember it right now.
Yeah, shoot.
Crap,
I can't. Yeah, the Twisted Tales lasted 10 issues, and I think by the end it was
2 that was 3D from Blackthorn. Twisted Tales did.
Yeah, Twisted Tales. I think the last couple issues might have even been self-published, because Pacific was long gone by then.
Yeah. There was some good Bruce Jones work there.
Meyer, there is Bone. And it silly, but then there's wild stuff like this in there too.
That looks great.
So if you like dragons, and the rat creatures. So it can have a little sinister look to it. But and this, I'll just show this one. So
I remember seeing it, but for me, I didn't get into it right from the beginning, so I just didn't. I felt like I couldn't start it because it was already on the stand, and it was like on the 5th or 6th issues when I first saw it. I think
you'll end up loving the guy with the cigar, Smiley Bone.
All right,
this guy here, he's I don't know.
What is it supposed to be? What is that character supposed to be?
Well, whatever a bone is, that's what they are, and they came from Boneville.
Oh, okay.
One of the bone guys looks just like Foam Bone, except he wears a shirt with the star on it. He is the greedy, no good guy that gets them in trouble, and the other 2 bones have to kind of keep an eye on them. They get into this little old village, and That's where the cow race takes place, and then it turns into this wild dragons and.
But it's not political like Walt Kelly.
Oh no.
I guess when I first saw it, I just figured it was a Walt Kelly ripoff. When I first saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first issue on the stands, I just thought, well, some fans have made this self-published book that's half X-Men and half Ronin. It didn't amuse me. They're trying to do this clever, nerdy title, and then it blew up and became this huge thing. But it was, I guess I wasn't the right age group that they were aiming at. But originally it seemed like it was a lot darker than what it later became with all the cartoons and everything.
Yeah, I've got the name of that title I was trying to think of. It was Tales of Terror.
Okay.
From 1985. It ran 13 issues. I think it was Eclipse that put that out.
All right, I remember that. I think I have a couple issues of that. I do have a couple issues. The chat is on fire right now.
Yeah, I can't keep up. There, finally at the end.
Really? Have we got an audience out there?
Well, not very large, but they're
energetic.
They like to type. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. So.
Yeah.
Were you going to show something, Michael?
I could. I had a box here with some of the latest stuff that I picked up, so might as well. Got Doctor Strange 183, the last issue. This is one of those pre-Defenders issues when Doctor Strange was in his superhero duds there.
Yeah.
And, there was this issue, and there was Hulk, I think 126 with the Valkyrie, and the Submariner number 22, and those were kind of like the pre-Defenders issues, and then it went into the Submariner number 34 and 35, which were the real pre-Defenders issues. But anyway, I needed this, so I was glad to get it. I'm trying to complete that run. I still don't have it all, but here's a few more of them. 56. Boy, this is rough. And yeah, there we go. Of course, I double bag this stuff in these Mylar bags, so got a lot of glare. And there's 58.
Yeah, the covers are great.
Yeah. And 60, this has Dracula.
Okay. That continues from an Avenger plot line. I've read that one. Yeah.
And let's see. Oh, I pulled this one because I'm not about to buy Hulk 180 and 181. I've owned 2 copies of 181 in my life and one really high grade copy of 180. And I got rid of those years ago, and I've got a 182 there, but I'm not gonna fool with those other 2. Man. This reprint's all like that.
Yeah. Hold that up for one more second, Michael.
Sure.
Guys, get that book if you can. It's a great reprint of the 180, 181. And I don't want to make him open it out of the bag, but that's a wraparound cover. And on the back is only if you want to. On the back is Wendigo, and it's a great cover. And it's a shame that there's no way to kind of really display it unless you just slammed it up against the wall. And yeah, that's beautiful. Great art, great illustration. So
I got Hulk 180 just by, I got it free just by being sick. My mom went to the Mr. M and picked up some comics for me because I was homesick, and she happened to pick up that. And then another time I was sick, she picked up Man-Thing number 1. So she did pretty well just guessing what I might like.
Yeah, that's a beautiful Brunner cover on that Man-Thing number 1. I love Frank Brunner, man. Now, this book here, I finally got a copy of this from 1966. I remember seeing this in the house ads, and I always wanted it back in the day, but it took me all this time to finally get a copy of it.
Yeah.
Superheroes Annual, number 1. And I got some Sergeant Furies. I bought a lot of Sergeant Furies, got a pretty good deal on them. just issues I didn't have. There's a Adolf cover.
Yeah, Sergeant Fury, when it got that high in the numbering, they would go like 2 or 3 reprints and then tell an original story, and then another 2 or 3 reprints and then tell an original. So it was very frustrating, probably getting it off the racks.
I didn't realize that. I thought they went all reprint.
No, they like 100 is original, and I can't remember them.
There's a great Tiger tank. I noticed on a lot of these World War II movies that you see from the 60s and 70s, the German tanks are American tanks, and they're painted like German tanks.
Oh.
Because they couldn't find enough Panthers and Tigers, I guess, to make the movie, There are a lot more of those Pattons and Pershings around than the original German tanks. Now, this is a reprint that I had in an annual, I think number 7.
Yeah. Paula was reminding me that that Hulk reprint also had the Wolverine Hercules little mini story. Yeah, Wolverine and Hercules become little buddies in that book.
So much knowledge.
And then I finally got these Nick Fury reprints. Pretty good deal on those.
You could be right, Wildcat. It's been a while, so I've looked through them. Oh, yeah, these are looking great.
Man, I love that run right there. I love that title.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to be Steranko, man. He had his own style, but he had like the action of Kirby with the fine art of somebody like Adams,
Yes, Fireball, that noise you hear is Eric cutting up his Gil canes, so it's to be expected.
Never.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Dinosaur fans love it.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
It's corny, but we love it, man. And this is actually a significant book right here. This is the first War That Time Forgot issue. It's in very low grade. It's Star Spangled War Stories number 90. It's only in fair, but I paid $6 for it.
Well, the cover looked great for a fair.
Yeah, it's not missing any huge chunks. Well, that's a pretty big piece up here, but
yeah, but it's
the covers just beat the heck. But yeah, it's fair.
Had nice color.
Yeah, I was glad to get it. It's also got a Mademoiselle Marie story in it. And there's, of course, Adams' Strange Adventure of Dead Man.
Wow.
I'm a big Adams fan, like a lot of people. It's hard to find somebody that doesn't like Neil Adams. And now here's a deal I found on some Tomahawks. I was looking for Tomahawk number 103 because it's that Frankenstein monster issue. And I had a copy of that as a kid. And every one that I found on eBay was like 15 or 20 bucks, even for mid-grade. So I found this guy that had this lot with that book in it, and I got the whole lot for $30.
Wow.
That's number 77.
I never saw this title as a kid at all. Never knew about it until recently, really.
And here's number 81. That I like that character there, Miss Liberty.
Yeah.
This was just a magic time, from back there in the 60s. I like it when the price 12 cents is in a bowl box like that,
Mm-hmm.
Brings back memories.
Those look awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I got all this for $30. There was like over 20 of them. This number 84.
Wow.
Now, if I'm taking too long here, let me know, Micah.
Oh, no. Tonight's our free-for-all, so.
Okay. I just didn't want to hog it, let's see. Here's number 101.
Man, what a perspective. Cool.
Now this is the book that I had off the rack. And this is actually a pretty decent copy of it. It's probably in very good definer, so. And that really brought back some great memories when I sat down and read that thing, man.
Wow.
That's number 105. And let's see, we've got 106 there. Battling Ghost of Tomahawk. And number 107. Got to get those gorillas on there, man. It was DC.
Yeah.
Taught him how to shoot a bow.
Yeah. And oh yeah, I had a copy of this off the rack too. It was nice to get this in that lot, number 109. I remember the caveman flying on the pteranodon.
That's great.
And this here is number 110.
They got Joker's dime or something. That's pretty cool.
And here's number 111. Vengeance of the Devil Dogs.
Graphic, could you inform Ash on Comics that we can no longer be friends?
He already knows that.
Okay.
Here's number 112. And of course, there's the go-go checks for Rod. He should be here, but I guess he got tied up with something.
For those of you wondering, Ash had a brilliant statement here. So.
Where is it? Well, Ash, if you ever get your own channel, you can put that on there.
Number 113, and this is an iconic cover, number 114. And here is number 115, the Flaming Ranger.
Hey. Oh, different kind.
Okay, I got a few more from different companies, but you guys go ahead. Somebody else show something for a while, so I'm not hogging things.
So what do we call it when we show something that's been? I forget what.
Oh, I think it's an Eric Breen.
Yeah. Or what was that called? I forget the. So you like Lady Liberty? Well,
there you go.
Nice.
And so do you guys call this a date stamp? Okay, so someone's written 6/29, so I guess that's June. 20.
That's a date mark in pen.
Okay. And here's another tomahawk. So
cool.
All right. If I were in stocks, I would want a giant to all of a sudden show up, and stop the people from ridiculing,
It's like the MCU Submariner.
Now, Graphic, I have something to show real quick.
Did you grab a few tomahawks?
No. But that's it. Yeah. I have to use these smaller ones because this is probably all the Gil Kane you can handle. If it was a full size comic, it might be too much for you.
Oh, that doesn't look too bad.
So yeah, put on your trifocals and drink it in.
We can handle small doses.
Yeah, you can handle. You can't handle.
Yeah.
This.
Are we ever going to see that alarm again, Micah?
Well, if Eric piles on, we might. So
That's. I said, I just got to pick my spots. Quick strikes.
Yeah.
Get in and get out.
That alarm is a fan favorite, I want to tell you.
It is.
Yeah. I got a couple more. So I tried to make another one, and I ran it through YouTube, and boy, they shut me down quicker. It was Jimi Hendrix, and they don't want you showing any Jimi Hendrix. That thing is locked down tight. So, Rama Tut, yeah. Those of you need to go watch the Geeky Puppet Show we recently read. That was great time. All I have to say is New York City, and those guys go crazy.
New York City.
Yeah.
And you'll fall in love with Alicia.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Eric does the gravel voice on her, boy. And Gratu, I tried to send you an Instagram to join us on that.
Oh yeah, I know. I wasn't able. We were eating late at that restaurant, and I did see some of the show though. I need to watch it all.
Did you highlight Gore's comment? Just. I mean, not that he shouldn't have to belabor the obvious, but
I might agree with the Green Lantern part, but I like John Byrne's Superman.
Eglinton and I did about an hour-long video one night, just discussing Superman artists. Ash, I'm hurt.
Yes.
And yes, I'm pretty sure that we came to that conclusion as well about John Byrne.
As far as Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like his.
We said we credited Kurt Swan with being the definitive Superman artist, but I, with all due respect, wouldn't call him the best.
Right. Wayne, what's the other guy? Wayne Boring? That was
Boring.
good too.
Yeah, I would go with Kurt Swan and Wayne Boring.
Win Mortimer did a bunch also, and
to me, John Byrne was great on the X-Men.
Yeah.
And when you let that guy go on his own, then he starts giving Johnny Storm like a haircut 100 haircut and having him screwing Alicia Masters, and I didn't go for that. I mean, he's a wonderful artist, but everyone's got these little skinny necks, and
his rationale was Reed and Johnny shouldn't look like bodybuilders because their powers don't lend themselves to that, and it was a good point, but I think he made them both too skinny.
Yeah.
But when he took over Superman, he gave him a Superman's physique. And especially if you see what they're doing today with that character,
I think I unfairly blame John Byrne, for a lot of the changes that weren't his fault, which was all the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which destroyed everything I loved. And then so he had to reinvent the universe without all the fun stuff that I liked, which some people would consider silly, like super cats and then it just, I don't know.
Basically, they were going to revamp Superman because it had, unfortunately, a couple years prior, Marv Wolfman was writing Action Comics. He had help from the great Gil Kane on art. And he treated the character with respect. Problem was, a lot of the other people would just do one and done issues aimed at 8-year-olds. So Superman was that character that everybody knew, but people weren't buying anymore. So they basically sent out basically a casting call, and everybody was submitting their pitch for Superman. And I think it's sort of like when they were casting Al Bundy, everybody went in and played him angry like Ralph Cramden. Ed O'Neill played him as just resigned to his fate. It was so different that he got the gig. Where I'm going with that was Byrne, I think, was the one that came up with Clark Kent is the character, Superman is the disguise. And that's why they went with him.
Who was on the book when Superman was about to make a porno movie with who was that? John Byrne?
That was Byrne.
Okay, so I rest my case. That's to me.
That gets a bad rap. It was a tongue-in-cheek thing. It was the guy from Apocalypse. So, and it didn't get very far.
Yeah, but to me, I know everyone says comics are for adults and everything, but to me, comics are a children's medium, and I guess, yes, in Europe and maybe they have all this shit that's for adults now. I understand that, but to me, I was the real reason they fucked everything up in DC because of Superman 4 was so bad, or
no, that came after the crisis.
That was after all that. I'm just trying to remember. Everything fell apart in the 80s, and I just started. I still go to the comic stores, but I was buying the old comics, the
quote unquote porn story was written like you would see it in a sitcom, just like a handful of misunderstandings. I said it wasn't graphic by any stretch, and it wasn't really, like I said, it wasn't to be taken seriously.
But they're still doing it in a children's comic, and I just see that as the ancestor of all the evil that's happening now. It's just the beginning of all the cultural Marxism and tearing everything down. Porno shouldn't even be hinted at in a Superman comic book. And I've heard stories about Buddy Saunders, the owner of Lone Star Comics, and how pissed he got at DC. And at the time, I thought, well, this guy's just for censorship, because I was in college, I guess. And I thought, that old guy. But now I look back and I realize he knew what he was right. And that was because I guess he got pissed about something, I guess Lobo in DC. And he came out and said, God damn it, I'm going to stop carrying DC. He wound up putting the DC all in the back of the store. So you'd have to come through and go through past all the Marvels, and DC would be in the very back, because his idea was that you put out an adult comic with Lobo where he's raping all these women and has all these children or whatever perverse stuff. And then you have him also in a comic that's aimed at kids. And then that's like a gateway drug. The kid will read that, and then they'll want the Lobo comic. And it's just a matter of, it just like create your own characters that do it and make it kind of look like Superman, but don't do it to the actual Superman, because we're such a young country. We don't have much history. We don't have some stupid royal family. We've got John Wayne, who's constantly attacked, and we've got Marilyn Monroe, and they do all this horrible stuff for 3 hours to her and Netflix, and everything is just torn down. All the heroes, now Batman is bisexual, and it's like, well, what are you you're just homophobic if you don't want Batman to be bisexual. No, because he's never been bisexual in 80 years or 80 years, right?
I mean, I get what you're saying, and I just don't think that particular story rises to that level. Now, what they're doing today is a whole different.
It's just the beginning of the slippery slope. That's where I sensed it coming then, and now look at what we've got. And it's like it starts with Archie Bunker, and that's funny. And now look at the just what we've got for entertainment.
Let me jump and maybe be an in-betweener.
Yeah.
Had it stopped with the book that Eric's talking about, we might not even be talking about it. We might have rolled our eyes at it. But now look where we are.
Of course, I
fair.
wasn't even aware of that book until less than a year ago. I didn't even know about it, so that didn't piss me off at the time.
But Byrne didn't go any farther with that because Byrne is a comic book fan, the same as the rest of us. It was a story he did. Basically, it was more of an indictment on the creepiness of some of the people in Apocalypse. So if you want to, de facto blame Jack Kirby because he created the characters that were used in that. And then he went on to the next superhero story because at the time, Action Comics was basically DC Comics Presents.
Yeah.
Because it was a team-up book, and it was never referenced again.
Well, I think of Byrne as a great artist, and I thought it was great in X-Men when there's someone else writing. But when he's left to his own devices, he starts to do things like you completely don't understand the Johnny Storm character if you give him that haircut, like a fishbowl haircut, because he's a guy that builds hot rods. You don't understand what he is outside of being the Human Torch. He's more like a James Dean kind of guy. He would not be caught dead with a fashionable, like wearing parachute pants or something.
That has more to do with John Byrne for all of his, and I'll say that no creator outside of Stan and Jack had a better decade than Byrne had in the 80s. But if Byrne did parents, they were going to be short, old, and dumpy, whether their kids were 5 years old or 55 years old. He just had things in his head the way things should look. And that was just the way it was. Like I said, because, the Kents had no business being as old looking as they were in the Superman revamp. It was great. He brought them back. They were alive in this iteration, but they looked, Martha Kent was Aunt May without the wrinkles. Yeah. I mean, she looked that old, and it's just, there's no reason for him to, but that was Byrne. He just had certain things that he did, and he couldn't be dissuaded from them. And his ideas worked, but the way a lot of the people he drew, just because I agree, like I said, that was a dumbass haircut.
Yeah.
But he cut off Sue's hair too.
Yes, I didn't like
that. I didn't like that at all.
And then I had, all this stuff competing for my money: movie posters, monster toys, records, beer. I was in college, and it's just like, you're going to insult Johnny Storm, and having him have an affair with Alicia. I don't know how long that went on, but that was unforgivable. That's just not something you do.
Well, that wasn't him, but
it wasn't him. That was
long after he was gone.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they corrected that. It turned out that
it was a scroll
had taken her place,
but turned out
but the John Byrne Fantastic Four was an absolute love letter to Lee and Kirby.
Yeah.
Except John Byrne really insulted Kirby. He was really butthurt because he just said he really insulted Kirby and his what Kirby wanted, and he says, "Well, I'm a company man." I just like I don't remember how all that went, but
what it was John Byrne when they were talking about creators' rights and that Marvel owed him what I said. No, technically they don't, because he was work for hire, as am I. Now that was, he wasn't wrong legally. Now, whether he was wrong morally, that's a different story.
But he was working with all of Kirby's characters, and what new characters did he create on his own?
You're right. He was working with characters
Herald of Galactus or something.
He was working on Kirby's characters that were created as work for hire and Marvel. So technically, Byrne was right, but that again, it just what happened to Jack doesn't pass any smell tests, except for the legal one, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And as far as your question, who did he create? Absolutely nothing. Now, it's John Byrne is probably the greatest in comics history at taking an idea and running with it, but left was as far as the characters he created, forgettable across the board.
Yeah.
Well,
I like John Byrne as an artist. I just that's when everything started to fall apart for me. So I just hate everything from that. I really started hating everything when the UPC code were put on comics, and they just started to look ugly. They just were ugly things. That.
Speaking of characters that they've changed way too much.
Hey.
No, I knew that was coming.
I knew you'd say that.
Well, I didn't want to disappoint.
Why is Odin punching him?
You have to read the book. They're always
I thought
blaming.
Odin was still sleeping in the bed next to Huey, Louie, and Dewey.
That's right. I will be taking that to Lebanon, Missouri. Weird horse on this one.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Who's that, Trippy?
Yes, he even signed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Fortunately, because I couldn't have told you. Just a couple more. Here's Kid Colt with Rawhide.
That's a good date stamp, buddy.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's a tattoo the horse has. So.
Okay.
Shooting it right out of his hand, but he's going to get shot from up above there. Here's the picture frame. Great image of him here.
Yeah.
And the Scorpion strikes.
I liked when they tried to sell the comic by saying action in the Spider-Man fashion, and they'd have a picture of Spider-Man's head to try to sell the book.
Yeah, Outlaw Kid number 10 has that. And check out this cougar.
Wow. That's a beefy cougar, man.
Yeah.
It's more like a Smilodon without the tusk.
And change it up. Here's a Ringo. And for Michael, here's another Turok. So,
thank you. Very good.
All right. What did I miss?
They're going back and forth on Perez and Byrne in the 80s. And I will say, Perez is the only other person that can be brought into that conversation for that decade.
Oh, for art?
Well, just in general.
Okay.
And I only give the nod to Byrne because Byrne wrote those FFs, wrote those Alpha Flights, wrote the Supermans, co-plotted the X-Men. And I honestly thought that Perez, I was not blown away by his Wonder Woman. And he, by his own admission, he had to bring in a writer to help him. So that's why I give the nod to Byrne. Not saying his art was better, but I'm saying as far as like who had a bigger impact in comics, like I said, it's one of those two, and that's it as far as like creators.
Yeah, but nobody else really knew what to do with Wonder Woman either.
Oh, I agree with the point. Now, my favorite Wonder Woman writer, oddly enough, was Greg Rucka, who has just completely destroyed his career now. But that is a hard character to get a hold of, and he leaned really hard into the mythology of Themyscira and how she, with the Greek gods and whatnot. And I've always been a bigger fan of fish out of water stories, like when Byrne did Namor and made him basically a Wall Street tycoon, which goes back to Fantastic Four number 9. When he bought the movie studio to hire the FF to make a movie. I thought that was a great idea. When Ron Mars made Silver Surfer a straight man amongst all these cosmic buffoons, I thought that worked. And like I always liked Thor better on Earth than on Asgard. That's just personal preference.
Yeah. When Thor was in a soda shop and all these girls were mobbing him,
in the hippie wonder
like
race.
a beetle.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name, Joe. That's a very forgettable first name that writer has, apparently.
You can't remember it because there's only one Eric in your mind, and
it ain't me, brother.
So did the Bengals win? Did we establish that?
Oh, yeah, they won 27-15.
Okay.
So I can watch football in peace tomorrow, starting at 9:30 from London.
Oh, good.
Fun fact. 32nd game played in London.
Yeah.
Still not one between two teams with winning records.
They have actual football being played in England?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they go over there 3 or 4 times a year now.
They force a couple of teams to go there. And, it must be terrible playing, well, at an oddball time like that. But,
I bet it's no picnic you're getting over there. I bet the jet lag's a bitch.
Yeah, it's got to be a killer.
Especially if you're the 49ers or something. I could see a New York versus Buffalo,
So American teams are playing against American teams in England.
Yeah, tomorrow's the Vikings versus it's the Sea Hags.
The
and
NFL
they care about football over there now?
Oh yeah.
A little.
It's
but the NFL wants to get as much money as they can, so they'd love to make their brand more global.
Oh yeah, it's Vikings Saints.
Wow, I wouldn't watch that here.
Yeah, so if they get a bye week next week because of flying to London and back, they should get a bye week.
That might be how they work that.
Yeah,
but they didn't get a bye week last week, so I mean, they probably do. On the back end, they probably do. That makes sense.
Maybe on the back end, it would make sense.
Yeah. I usually get into NFL, but I'm pretty nonplussed this year because the Titans are just looking like crap, man. If you're going to look like crap, I guess it's better to get it over with at the beginning of the season because these things tend to even out, and I think they've actually probably got a pretty good team still. So it may even out to where they make a run later in the season, but you just hate to see that embarrassment. Those first 2 games were just brutal.
Excuse me, Cincinnati Bengal fan here. The Bengals didn't have they got their long snapper hurt, missed an extra point and a 29-yard field goal, and this is from a guy who's routinely hit from 55 and lost to the Steelers, who couldn't beat this panel.
Yeah, I know.
So what do you think of that stupid design on the middle of the Cleveland's field of that elf character?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
That's the Cleveland Browns logo.
It's the old brownie, right?
The brownie
is an elf. Yeah,
the little the brownie.
Brownie.
Giant elf in the middle of the field.
Okay.
Oh
I
boy,
haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they should change the logo to 30 women filing charges. Oh man, too soon.
Oh, yeah, a little soon.
My attachment to the 49ers and the NFL, just like everybody else,
Oh boy.
at least probably in our group, has changed in the past 5 or 6 years, right? So, or maybe even longer than that. Maybe 8 or 10 years. I lost interest. I wasn't watching every single game every year, but now at this point, so for a couple of years, I stopped watching completely, like maybe a lot of other guys did. I completely I forgot all about the NFL because of political things that happened here with Kaepernick kneeling and all of that. I was done with the 49ers and done with the NFL completely. But now it's almost a hate watch. Now I almost sometimes I'll root against the 49ers if it's the new quarterback that they just signed to a $40 million contract. I'll root for that guy to get injured just so that the team and the fans will get burned. That's how deep my love for the 49ers used to be. Now it's turned to this almost a hate.
Well,
don't even watch all the games.
They got
But
their
if I do watch, I like to watch them lose.
yeah. Garoppolo got him to a Super Bowl and to a conference championship last year. That they would have got. They should have gone to the Super Bowl, but one of their DBs, dropped. Who was it? Stafford put one between the numbers and he dropped it, or the 49ers win that game. And they can't get rid of Garoppolo fast enough to hand the job to Trey Lance, who played about 3 games in college.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And I said that, that's.
Oh, I get it. I understand why, because I live here. So that's why I'm happy to see the guy not playing.
He's already hurt. I think he's out for the year again.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, I still watch tons of old games, though, on YouTube. My thing is like classic sports. I'll watch NFL games, sometimes 2 games a day, a game from like 1979, just to hear Pat Summerall's voice, just to hear like all the old announcers. Oh, look at that's terrible, you guys. That's hilarious. It's kind of funny.
Yes.
So, Meyer, do you ever lament the fact that nobody was smart enough to keep those old films? Because whenever someone finds an old game, I'm right there.
They're on YouTube.
No, I'm talking about like I have a DVD of the Boston Red Sox 1967 season overview.
Right.
And the bonus disc is the second to last game from the 67 season. It is the oldest complete game in color that exists. And there's only about 10 full complete games older than that exist. Like the 7th game of the 60 World Series only exists because Bing Crosby had someone tape it because he was too nervous to watch it. So he went to Europe and they found it in his wine cellar about 30 years after he died.
Yeah, that's a shame. It's so the only stuff that we have is available because people were using their VCRs at home. So like the best games to watch, in my opinion, are old games from the 70s and 80s that are complete with the commercials still in them. But TV that you're talking about is like before, it's like they were piecing the commercials in themselves. So there was never even a tape made, like you're saying. They didn't even make a tape at the studio of the complete broadcast when it was happening.
Well, what they would do is they would tape over it the next time they needed one, just like the old Carson episodes. Like there's not even a complete Super Bowl #1, even though it wasn't even called that then.
Right.
And I don't think the second one exists. Like the Namath game is the oldest one. That the third one does exist in its entirety. But it's just, like I said, if there were old games, if I could watch baseball games from the 50s and 60s, hell, I'd never watch a new one.
That would be great. And they'll piece together like games with old radio coverage with like clips, and it's obviously not the same.
I hear what you say with the commercials. Those commercials were geared right to us. They were for men. Now the commercials are not for men at all. It's depressing.
It makes the whole experience for me to be watching old television with the commercials still intact.
Yes.
There's something about it. It's like a little time traveling device. YouTube.
Right.
It can really work that way.
In Dallas, it must have been about in the 90s, maybe. They spent a whole evening playing the Dallas Cowboys game that was famous from the 60s called the Ice Bowl. And they had the entire radio broadcast of it with all the commercials and everything. I guess
it was against Green Bay.
Yep.
Yeah. What year was that from?
66 or 7.
I would have guessed 5, but yeah, probably right.
I don't know if I think I recorded it. I don't know if I still have the tape. I was more in it for the old commercials because I'm not a sports fan. But
that might have been the conference championship that led to the first so-called Super Bowl.
I wonder if someone recorded it and put it on YouTube. Let me check.
But
very possible.
I've seen some of that game, and just seeing how much of the breath you could see coming out of every player, that you get cold just watching that.
How cold was it?
Frozen tundra.
It was something like 15 below or something. Now, I don't know how cold it was with the wind, because first time the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, their conference championship game, it was 59 below with the wind.
They've got it. The whole broadcast is their original radio broadcast, Ice Bowl 1967.
And I'm pretty sure a good chunk of the video exists also. Yeah, it was so cold in Cincinnati that day, I turned down a free ticket to a conference championship game because there's no way in hell I was going to stand outside for 4 hours.
They've got like an hour and 13 minutes of film footage of it.
It's brutal to watch. Yeah, Ash, you're right. There's nothing for men anymore.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
I saw a commercial promoting the NFL, and it showed a lesbian couple breaking up over football.
Saw that one too.
Yeah.
Every commercial seems to be geared towards needling us for some reason. Like, is it purposeful?
It absolutely is. But I'm going to refrain from going into detail because a friend of mine and I were talking in the store today. We started talking politics, and a Biden supporter left in a huff. or he realized he didn't have any money to buy anything because of the person he voted for. But like I said, I've already been polarizing enough for one day.
That's a good idea.
Well, they have whole games of the LFL. You're familiar with them?
The Lingerie Football League?
Yeah. I've seen some of those games.
Allegedly.
Actually, they're actually pretty entertaining. Some of those girls are big and can actually play football, and they wear like thongs. And so some of them, it will be like a 185-pound running back chick. This girl that's kind of built like a refrigerator box, but her ass is out and she's running. You know what I mean? And it's happening.
I'm sure a lot more entertaining than the She-Hulk TV series.
Please don't tell me that anybody's not.
No need for CGI.
Meyer, just don't tell me anybody hired Lizzo to play for.
No, but there were girls in that league that are similar to Lizzo in size that are the line women, the line people, the line persons.
And suddenly,
there's big women there doing that.
You know, I was gonna leave to
go. Bodies too.
I was gonna leave to go get something to eat, but I think I'll wait a while now.
So yeah, the world's gone mad, right? And luckily we live in a world of wonder.
Yes.
Yeah, wondering what horrible thing will happen tomorrow.
If I didn't have something like this to just
that's great.
Come home to and just forget all the junk that's going on. Oh, yeah. Or like an old album to listen to.
Ash, why?
What did he do?
They said, I hope Lizzo plays the Super Bowl. Actually, I hope Lizzo plays in the Super Bowl. Somebody could use her on a line.
Well, we've scared poor Michael Dodd away.
I wonder if I'm subscribed to Michael Dodd.
Well, I tried to find his channel earlier. Like I said, there's about 15 guys named Michael Dodd. It'd be hard to find them, but
didn't he say he took his stuff down too?
Yeah, so he doesn't have he doesn't have a video presence, so to speak, to subscribe to. But maybe we could convince him to make a video every now and then. And
I can at least show up for the streams and show stuff there. If I'll eventually maybe do some videos. I don't know.
Yeah. If you do, go to one of our YouTube channels or any of our recent videos. Leave a comment, and then people can see your comment and they can click it. It'll take them directly to the Michael Dodd channel instead of all those 15 other guys. So
okay,
that's what I would do. So
okay.
Well, the only thing that's getting broken is anything she sits on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all of our 4-color fossil broadcasts are pretty good. I have to list them as adult material or something.
Yeah.
All my
Is it for kids or is it not for kids? And that's
Because
something.
I've
That's
heard
how-
if I put it for kids, then YouTube doesn't tell anybody about it. So
Yeah, but it's not for kids. So, I make videos about toys, but they're not for kids. So I always click not. Every one of my videos is.
But I think kids would love, the stuff we show.
There was that week that Strange Life showed us copies of amazing adult fantasy, and that confused YouTube probably.
Yeah.
We have like one viewer that we know for a fact is a kid or was a kid, right? And then he found this place organically, just like we did.
But I would want to keep it to where people can feel comfortable that they don't have to worry about what we're showing as people walk behind them. Like if they're watching us while on their job, I'd like to think that, we're not showing anything bad. So,
well, yeah, I was kind of out of bounds last week in that. I showed some smut last week.
Yeah, but if you did, it was totally. I don't think we really noticed.
It wasn't full blown smut at all. It was.
Some of the guys were kidding you in the chat, but that was all.
Yeah, we were just.
Okay, I didn't show any nudity or anything.
Now, Strange Life has shown some stuff on this, but I can go back later and I can find those, and YouTube will let me blur out little sections. So,
really?
It just takes me a long time to do it.
The Crypt Keeper has gone mad. He's just starting to show his old Playboys, but I guess he has as adult material. You have to click through a page. Do you realize that you're about to see horrible things? Yes, I can perceive.
Watch that. His favorite Playmates.
Yeah, like that's a whole playlist now for him. Tonight I saw one of his videos popped up. Apparently, his largest haul from my comic shop.
I haven't watched that yet.
That could take a while because I think he probably has stuff delivered to his place every day.
Yeah, he about 5 minutes after Michael and I went on for this, Crypt Keeper dropped his video. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to see. And speaking of that, Michael, I hope you enjoyed this golden voyage, this maiden voyage.
Yeah.
We're about the 3.5 hour mark. I better get out there and check on my wife.
Yeah.
Because she goes, well, you were streaming Tuesday, then you had your little fossil show, then you were at the Puppets Friday, and so here I am.
I'm probably in trouble too.
But Michael, it's great to have you. If you want to pop in every now and then on the Fossil Show Wednesday, we'd be more than thrilled to see you. So,
it'd be great. Thank you.
I appreciate Michael reached out to me, and if you would like to reach out for this channel, then feel free to do this address. That's 404. The lousy Google Mail insisted on that number. The number 40 doesn't mean a thing to me. My birthday is not in April or anything like that, but you can't tell Google anything. So, but feel free to contact me or on Instagram or any of these fine fellows, and we'll steer you in the right direction. So, well, yeah. Yes, I do show a bone every now and then. So have a bone to pick with.
At least it wasn't a giant-sized man thing.
No, I've never shown any of those. I should dig some of those out. All right. Well, I will end this, guys, so we can get back to our lives and let poor Michael rest. Thank you so much, Michael. We totally enjoyed that. I know I speak for everybody. You have a fantastic collection.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you liked it, man.
Oh, that was great. That was great. And to everybody in the chat, we thank you for showing up. And don't forget to tune in Wednesday nights, this same channel, to see more great fossils in action. And you'll see even more of us. So Thank you all. You'll even see Paulo all the way from whatever country he's from. So with that note, good night, everybody, and happy drawing.
Good night, kids.
Bye, guys. Thank you.